Hey everyone, I'm quadraaceps, and this is Galdera. This is Octopath Traveler, and the category is Galdera. So this is a full game category. We're gonna complete essentially the entire game. Every character's stories. There are 8 characters. We're gonna do all the stories. We're gonna face most of the we're gonna face all 4 secret job bosses, and then namesake of the category, Galdera. We have to beat the final boss. So yeah, once I start, there's going to be a lot to explain, so that's why I'm doing my introductions now. And we're going to get right into it. So the timer starts when I confirm my starting character here. So we're going to start with Tressa. First reason is because she's the best girl, and the second reason is because she's gonna... I'll explain later, but she's going to be able to get us started very quickly. One of the fastest starting characters. Alright, so I'll give a countdown. We'll go on start. So 3, 2, 1, start. Okay? So 3, 2, 1, start. Yeah, just to confirm, which language is in the lead right now? Because I have it on Japanese right now.
The winning option of the bid word is Japanese.
Alright, that's good. Alright, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna purchase and equip this wolf's bow. It's gonna give me more damage, and let me do the first boss a lot quicker. Definitely want to purchase the wolf's bow. And we're just gonna be introduced to game mechanics right now. Path actions. These are how our characters are gonna interact with NPCs here. Because this path action is purchase, and you might have guessed this allows her to buy items from NPCs. And this is going to be very useful because a lot of strong items are only obtainable through NPCs. So just making our way through Chapter 1 here. Nice thing about this game, you can skip cutscenes, which makes the speedrun a lot better. Purchase an extra healing item here, might have to use it if we get unlucky. It's always nice to have. And off we go to the dungeon. Okay, so the first thing you're going to see me do is I'm going to walk. So walking actually increases the distance you can travel before you get an encounter. So I'm going to do a combination of walking and running to try to get through the screen with only 2 encounters. Because if you normally if you run all the way, you get 3 encounters. So I got a pretty late encounter here that's nice to see. Got caught by surprise. It's pretty unfortunate. Funny enough, this actually happened in my in another marathon run I had recently as well. Right, so we're gonna break the enemy here. They have a set number of weaknesses. They have a certain number of weaknesses and shields. At their weakness, their shields go down, and when they have 0 shields, they become broken. And I'm just doing this because it guarantees escape. So if you were to YOLO flee, you might not always run away. So I'm just breaking them to make sure I run away. It's a bit more consistent. And I tend to walk the screen a lot, so you can see me walk here. So I've gotten 2 encounters. Hopefully we don't get the last one. We shouldn't because, like I said, I tend to walk a lot to make the screen very consistent. Okay, so more about the break function. When enemies are broken, they take more damage. So you're going to want to try to when the enemy is broken. And in here, we always run into this pirate, so we're going to farm it for a bit of job points. That's what we're going to need to learn skills later. Use Straight Winds here, take it out. Nice thing about this pirate is that it always gives us a level, so it gives us a free heal. Every time you level, you get free heals. And here we go into Mech and Mac. We used to do this fight a bit differently, but we used to grab an item here that will allow us to shorten this boss fight. But getting that item gets you more encounters. So doing it this way, slightly longer boss fight. But without grabbing the item, you can cut down the average time you take to finish this chapter. It's pretty simple. Just use Straight Winds to break Nick, And here's another function, boost points. I'm going to use all my boost points, 3 boost points here to essentially multiply the amount of damage I do. I deal a lot of damage. And I'm going to be able to take one more hit here, so you want to heal when you can't take any more hits. So right now I can't take any more hits, so I'm going to heal. You want to take Mick out first because not only does he have less HP, he also deals more damage, so it makes a lot of sense to take him out first. Okay, this fight is pretty much free. Just gonna bow him here, defend to bring myself next to the next turn. At the start of the next turn, then break him. Now, with the remaining BP I have, I'm gonna fully boost my Cravens again and take him out. That was a good start, had a very good fight there. Sometimes if you get very unlucky, you have to use like both of your healing grapes there. And you have to do a slower fight. Fortunately, with the level up from the pirate, it's not very common to get the worst fight. Right, so now we're done with chapter 1, we can actually get out of town. The first thing we want to do is we want to get a skill known as evasive maneuvers. So you're noticing that I'm getting encounters pretty often right now, but once I get evasive maneuvers, I'm going to be able to travel a much longer distance without getting encounters. So obviously this is very important because it saves time. And every speedrun will get evasive maneuvers first. We run into Kit here, he is suffering a lot, so we give him a grade to heal him right up. And in all other categories, we ignore Kit, so we'll just leave him there. But the side quest, Kit's side quest is actually one of the mandatory side quests you have to do to unlock Galdera, so that's why we have to feed Kit. You run into 2 enemies here. That's not what you want to see because you can't break them, so you have to just YOLO and hope you run. Which I did, so that's nice. But for example, this single enemy, I can break it. So yeah, more about evasive maneuvers. It's a support skill, so support skills are passive skills. You unlock support skills by learning job skills. And evasive maneuvers, you learn it after you learn 2 scholar skills. So it's very convenient that the scholar character in this game, scholars are the mages in this game, the scholar character in this game is very near Tressa's hometown. So we're just going to make our way over to Atlas Dam here, and we're going to pick up Cyrus. Going to run into more of them later, most likely. And now we're here in Atlas Dam, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna pick up Cyrus. We want to pick up Cyrus as early as possible to get evasive maneuvers. And because we're gonna need 130 job points to learn evasive maneuvers, we want to start grinding a bit for JP. So in this chapter, I'm going to take usually 2 encounters on the way to the boss. We also got a drop from Tressa's chapter 1 boss called the Soulstone. And Soulstones are items that deal fixed damage to your opponent. They're pretty useful because right now our characters are not very strong, so Soulstones are going to be able to bypass that. And we're going to use that Soulstone on Cyrus's boss here, Russell, to speed up the fight drastically. Okay, so here we're doing encounters, both with lanterns. That's fine, it's pretty standard. It's the most common encounter here. To get good turnover, you can actually one-turn these fights and actually gets you bonus JP, but 2-turn fights are pretty standard. Alright, I'm gonna learn the most OP skill in this game, Hired Help. And you're gonna see why it's so strong. Hired Help is a skill where you pay money to deal damage. I'm gonna defend to bring Cyrus in front. And I'm just gonna toss the Soulstone here that we got from Nick and Mac. And it's gonna take out the ads and chunk Russell for about half his HP. So for the remaining half of his HP, I'm gonna use Hired Help Dancers. And you're gonna see that Hired Help just wiped out the rest of his HP. And that's not even the highest tier of Hired Help, so there's more to come. Hired Help's gonna be the main source of damage for the early game. The purchase is Soulstone here. It's not really for damage, it's because it's a Thunder element, and it's gonna increase the chances of us being able to get a fast encounter when we're grinding JP. By about 8%. So normally in the Whistlewood, which is the place we're going to go to next, good encounters are 25%, excluding chances of getting ambushed. But if you have Lightning Blast or Thunder Soulstone, you can increase that to 33%. And we're going to scrutinize this medium Soulstone here. This is what we're going to be using to kill the encounter in Whistlewood to grind JP. So we're going to Whistlewood because it's if we were to kill encounters outside, it would take very long. So we go into Whistlewood where the groups give more JP. And here we go, frogs. This is the worst encounter here, but it's also the most common encounter. Good thing for us, Tressa's Bandits makes very quick work of all these encounters. Tressa actually has a very good whistle grind because of the fact that she has bandits. Some other categories don't have this luxury. For example, if you were to have a Cyrus start, you have to bank on that 25 or 33% chance to get a good encounter in whistle. Whereas with Tressa, you can take most encounters in whistle, and then the remaining JP you can usually farm outside. This is a good encounter. This is exactly the encounter which we got the Thunder Soulstone for, so that's very pause. I'm going to be able to break it here. And then I'm going to toss the Light Soulstone to kill them. Yeah, these Hootie boys called the Howlers, you can't kill them straight up with the Soulstone. Oh, nice, I got Essence of Pomegranate. That's going to be an item which we'll use later. It takes us about 7 seconds getting it here. Oh yeah, to do the menu now. Donate BP, Firestorm, Blizzard. Okay, where was I? Yeah, those Hootie boys, you don't, they have like, I think it's like 1006 HP, so the Soulstone doesn't deal enough damage because it only, oh no, it's like 1000, okay, the Soulstone doesn't deal enough damage because it does 1001 base damage. And that damage is doubled when it's broken. So they have like more than 1001 but less than 1002 basically. So that's why you have to break them first with either Lightning Blast or Thunder Soulstone S, which we did there. And then we could use the Light Soulstone to kill them. So that's very nice. It's a 2 encounter whistle, which is considerably fast. On average, I would say probably 4 encounters. So 2 encounters is very, very good. So now we're done getting evasive maneuvers. As you can see, we're not getting any encounters here because we can travel a long distance without getting one now. Oops, got stuck at the fence there. We're gonna tag Noble Court. This game is a nice system of fast traveling. You're able to go back to any town you've previously visited. So we're gonna take advantage of the fast travel system. Very much in this run. And now we're going to do exploration. So the first 40 minutes or so of this run is pretty much entirely dedicated to exploration. Exploration is very important because it's where you're going to pick up, oh nice, I surprised it. That guarantees escape. Yeah, exploration is very important because it's where you're going to be gathering all the resources which you're going to need for the early game. And you're also going to be tagging towns so you can warp back to them later. And you also saw me pick up the Scholar Shrine. So shrines are where you can unlock secondary jobs for your characters. So we picked up the Scholar Shrine. That means I can give anyone in my party, except Cyrus, of course, Scholar. And you can have maximum of 2 of the same jobs in your party. So, or yeah, you can only equip the subclass to 1 character at a time. So maximum you can have is 2 scholars in the party. But we're going to be picking up most of the shrines. There's only 1 job shrine which we do not pick up. If you know what that job is, feel free to say it in the chat. But yeah, because a lot of these jobs have very useful skills, not just for combat, but also the support skills. So we're going to be picking those up. I'll explain that to the best of my abilities when we get there. So we're going to pick up this the warrior shrine here. Warrior job is the job that gives us the ability to break the damage cap. So right now damage is capped at 9,999. After learning Surpassing Power, which is the last support skill of the warrior class, but that's like way later, we don't have enough job points to do it now. Somewhere in the middle of the run, we'll be able to unlock Surpassing Power and increase our damage cap to 99,999. So that's very important because, yeah, be able to do a lot more damage in a single hit. Okay, now we're going to attack Stone Guard. If we are unlucky, we might get the Buffalo. Going from Warrior Shrine to Stone Guard, usually don't get it. If you're unlucky, you can get it. This next pass is a little riskier. Thankfully, if you do get this Buffalo encounter, both of your characters will be able to break the encounter, and then you can run from it. Hopefully we see Tressa first, because she's the fastest one. Nice. So yeah. So we use Bandits ×2 here. It breaks the bull, and then kills the bird, so you can just run away. If Cyrus is first, you have to use Firestorm, which breaks the bull but doesn't kill the bird, and then you have to use Tressa to break the bird, then you can run away on the next turn, so it's a bit slower. Okay, right now I've used 2 bandits, obviously because using bandits does actually take money, so I'm counting the number of bandits that I've used so far. I've used 2 bandits so far, so essentially, if I don't use like more than 3 bandits in this early game, I can pick up more soul stones later. So I've already explained soul stones. But I can pick up more soul stones later. It's just for safety. So we're in a pretty good spot here. We'll be able to get 3 extra soul stones later. If I use a lot of bandits, I will have to get fewer soul stones, so maybe 2 soul stones. Having more is nice because you can use those to clear random encounters, and eventually you can also use them for damage in your JP grinding. So this is a very long category. You're gonna want to kill encounters eventually because you're gonna need a lot of job points to fund all your skills. And once we're set up, we'll start doing that. But right now we're just doing exploration. So got the Merchant Shrine. The Merchant Shrine is the class that has access to hired help. So Tress is a Merchant by base class. And the Merchant is going to be very important for pretty much the entire run. Or at least the early part of the run. Because like I said, hired help is the main source of damage. And the highest tier of hired help, which is veterans, deals a lot of damage, and it's also very expensive, so that's why we have to do exploration, so we can get money to fund it. I scrutinized that guy for information that can be used to complete a quest later. It's just backup money because there comes a point later where I'm gonna need Cyrus to hit one of a scrutinize. And then if he doesn't hit it enough times within 5 tries, basically, I have to pay a lot of money. 8,000 to be exact. So by scrutinizing that guy there for a side quest that gives me 11,000 leaves, I can have some insurance. I totally glossed over this save and quit that I'm doing here. You saw me do it over at Moonstruck Coast. It resets my step counter so I don't get encounters on these screens, which are very high danger levels. So if you get encounters here, we most likely are going to die. Yeah, nice. I got a bird skip. Bird skip, like if you position yourself like correctly, you can like jump over that bush there. People would say it's like slightly more optimal movement, but really the reason why I do it is just because it looks cool. Okay, now we're in Grandport. I purchased an adamantine shield. It's a very good shield, gives a lot of defense, and it's going to be very useful for surviving attacks later. Purchase some nuts here. These are items that permanently increase your stats, so they're like vitamins in Pokemon. Those are going to be very important for our setup. Pomegranates, which instantly replenish BP. So this is very good because normally BP regenerates at the end of each turn that you don't use a BP. So having pomegranates allows you to speed up your fights drastically because you don't have to wait turns to regenerate BP. Grandport just has a lot of good stuff. That's why you want to come here first. A lot of money here as well. When we're done, we can use the handy fast travel system, go back to Cobblestone, which we tagged earlier, and now we're gonna tag a few more towns, and then we're gonna pick up our third character. So I haven't really explained what Scrutinize is. Basically, it's Cyrus's path action. It allows him to interrogate people for information. So I already mentioned that some of this information can be used to complete quests. And you've already also seen that I can scrutinize items as well. And later on, we'll be using Cyrus to scrutinize extra items and shots. And that's pretty much the last scrutinize which he's going to have to do. It's also the most important scrutinize which he has to do. And it's 30%, so he's not very likely to hit it. Thankfully, you have 5 tries, but every time you fail path action like scrutinize, like steal, you lose a reputation. And if you lose all of your reputation, you have to go to the tavern, and then you have to pay money, and then you have to reset your reputation. So not only is that slow, but in Saintsbridge, it's very expensive. It's 8,000 leaves, like I mentioned. That's where we're going to have to do that scrutinize. But that's not so soon. It's like in a bit, maybe like 20 or 30 minutes. Right now, we're just going to tag town. So I've tagged Sunshade already. I'm going to tag Clearbrook. And then we're going to make our way over to Quarry Quest. So Quarry Quest is where we're going to start Tressa's Chapter 2. We're not going to complete it immediately. We're just going to start it, and then we're going to leave the town and complete it later. But the reason why you want to start it is because every time you go into a new town and you can start a chapter, if you refuse to do so, you have to go to the tavern to restart it. And the tavern is very far away from the entrance, so it's going to waste a lot of time if you say no. So no harm starting it. You don't have to complete it immediately anyways. And there are some nice resources that you can get in Tressa Chapter 2, namely Soulstones. So I've talked a bit about Soulstones. You've seen small and medium Soulstones so far. They also come in large sizes. And the large sizes, as you might be able to tell, they deal the most damage. So medium ones deal 1001 base damage. And large ones deal 2007 base damage. And this damage is doubled when an enemy is broken. If they're not broken, but the Soulstone hits for the weakness, it deals 1.3 times the amount of damage. So we're going to take advantage of this. because this upcoming boss, to pick up our third character, has about... How much HP does he have? That's about like 4,300. So if you just use like a large soulstone and then you use a medium soulstone, if they don't hit for his weakness, then it deals like 3,008, which is not enough. But he's weak to thunder, and we have a thunder large. So that's gonna deal 3,005 damage. And then we use any M-stone to clean him up. And purchase a lot of M-stones here. Those are going to be very useful for killing bosses later. Now you're going to see me do something that might look a bit strange. I'm going to warp all the way to Stone Guard. And I'm going to purchase some items here. So the reason why you want to do that is because the next thing I want to do is I want to leave Query Quest. But instead of running all the way back to the entrance, which is very slow, what I can do is I can go somewhere else, and then the next time I'm back in Query Quest, when I warp back to Query Quest, I'm right at the entrance. So this is very efficient for cutting down movement. I purchased two accessories here, the Mighty Belt and the Elemental Augmenter. The Mighty Belt increases your physical attack by 50, which is nice, but we're not going to use it until the end game. For most of this run, we're going to be relying on elemental damage, or magic. And the Elemental Augmenter increases your magic stat by 100. And for reference, the max stat you can have is 999. So that is 1/10 of your maximum elemental attack stat. Needless to say, it's very strong, and you can purchase it very easily from that man for only 6,000 leaves, which is very cheap for the amount of value that it brings. So it's definitely worth it to go to Stone Guard just to pick up that item. And like I said again, it's efficient for movement because you can skip having to run all the way back to the start. Okay, we run into these birds here. Thankfully we have Soulstone, so we can guarantee escaping from this by just killing them. If you don't want to use a Soulstone, you can just YOLO flee, which is faster, but it's a bit riskier, because if you fail, then you lose time. So now we can pick up Therion. We want to pick up Therion ASAP, because there are some chests in this game, like the one you see behind him right now. They can only be unlocked by Therion, the purple chests. And a lot of these purple chests have very important items, very strong items, lots of money, lots of strong weapons. So we have to pick Therion up to get these items. And if you notice, the first part of the exploration on the way to Grand Port, we didn't open any purple chests, because there's not really anything of value in the, along the way in purple chests. But this next section of exploration, we're going to need Therion to get very important items from purple chests. So we have to pick him up here. Make our way through the manor. Usually always get an encounter here. You can just clear it out with Soulstone. Man's type dungeons like these don't reset your step counter even though you enter a different screen. So that normally happens. You usually reset your step counter when you enter a different screen. Not for dungeons like this. Okay, so this is Heathcote. Like I said, it's about 4,300 HP. Under Soulstone. And then Thunder M. You can use any element of medium Soulstone here, as long as you use a Thunder L. Nice thing about Heathcote is he also gives us a free medium pomegranate. So pomegranates come in free sizes as well, like Soulstones. The small pomegranates give you 1 BP, the medium ones give you 2, and the large ones give you 4. So those are very good. We're going to be using a lot of them throughout this run to speed up our fights. We're going to steal one here, and also an Arching Nut, which increases HP. Okay, so that is Therion Chapter 1. I know we didn't get to hear much of the very awesome boss theme, but we're gonna hear some good music later, trust me. Speaking of which, the music in this game is really good. Not only is the background music when you're exploring like really relaxing, boss music is really hype. Yeah, so the boss theme that played for Heathcote there, although you only got to hear like I don't know, like 5 seconds of it, it's Decisive Battle 2. It's one of the more iconic themes in this game. And yeah, it's just an overall really great soundtrack. But I'm not exaggerating when I say that pretty much every theme in this game is really good. It's fully orchestrated and yeah, just overall absolute masterpiece of a soundtrack.
Now be a good time for a donation.
Oh yeah, go ahead. We're just doing exploration now, so there's a lot of downtime.
Right on. We got a $20 donation from Sinisher saying, "Good luck, Quadra, and thanks to SS4C staffs for organizing and hosting. Thank you for your donation. We're currently at $1,271 out of our $2,000 goal. With the bid war for Resident Evil 2 coming up after Octopath, Claire A is winning with $45 over Leon A to $1. You have all the rest of this run to change that up if you'd like. And then the Metal Gear Solid incentive, we are currently only $39 away from meeting that incentive. So please keep that in consideration."
Awesome. Keep up the donations. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sino, for the donation. Okay, so this screen is particularly pretty troll. Fortunately, we didn't get the troll encounters here. It's actually probably the screen with the highest encounter rate, or yeah, encounter rate's a good way to put it. And I've gotten trolled by that screen many times. And this screen, you have to walk in a very diagonal angle. You have to take the most diagonal path you can. Otherwise, you're putting yourself at an increased risk of an encounter. And thankfully, we didn't get any encounters, so that's nice. The encounter here, if you do get it, like we call it the Cleric encounter, or the Cleric Shrine encounter. But haha, it's the Cleric Shrine. You can kill it if you get it with a spare Thunder Elf that you have. But it's like a really feels bad encounter because if you get it and you can kill it, it's time loss, and also you use one of your large soul stones, which are very limited in this run, and it's going to be very useful to have later. So definitely don't want to have to spend your soul stones. And if you don't, if you aren't able to kill it, that probably means you got ambushed, and that means you're probably dead. So you have to run back into the screen again. Oh yeah, something I forgot to mention totally, because we've been pretty lucky so far. We haven't died a single time in exploration. But a lot of the screens that I've been through have not insignificant chances of getting you random encounters, and like I said, very high level areas, if you get an encounter, you're pretty much dead. But the nice thing about this game is that it pretty much autosaves every time you enter a new screen. The only time it doesn't autosave is when you go to a different screen via cutscene. But for most of the exploration, because you're just traveling around, no cutscenes or whatever, you're going to be having autosaves before every screen. So if you die, I mean, it sucks, but you just lose like 30-40 seconds, and you can reload your autosave on the previous screen. Which is very nice from if you're starting out, you know, you just want to finish runs, that's really nice. But obviously, if you're going for like a record attempt or a very optimized time, you really don't want to be dying, because it's just time loss, basically. Yeah, speaking of dying, Exploration 2 is also has some pretty dangerous screens. So we've already been through a few of those. Victor's Hollow, and well, Victor's Hollow is not super dangerous, but if you get it, it's really annoying. Kayak Shrine is one dangerous screen, and this screen is also really troll. Basically, what you need to do is you need to If you're gonna run to Wellspring from the Dancer Shrine, you're gonna get an encounter and you're gonna die. So what we do is we're gonna reset the step counter at the bottom screen, so we can make it a Wellspring safely. The dumb thing is you can still get an encounter going to this next screen. So if you're really unlucky, you can get the encounter here. Fortunately, we don't. But yeah, Marcelim section it can be troll, but it's not the most dangerous section of exploration. I would probably say Gold Shore is the most dangerous section, because essentially you get free screens which are which do have a pretty good chance of killing you. So there's Gold Shore and Grandport. There are 2 screens. First running to the save point, then after you do the save point, save and quit, you grab the Thunder L, and then when you're going to Grandport, you can also die. So we're past that, which is nice. But there's also one particularly dangerous screen coming up called Everholt Tunnels, which a lot of runners will probably agree with me. It's one of the least favorite maps. It's the last point of exploration, so essentially, if you have a really good run up to that point, you're really just praying that you don't die in Everholt Tunnels. I think according to data mine, it's about an 80% chance to make it through. So 80 is pretty 20% chance to die is pretty high. So yeah, really hope you don't die there. It's also one of the slowest deaths you can have, because not only is the screen very long, but the encounters there, some of them take very long to kill you. In contrast, the Grandport encounter is the one that is the fastest encounter to die to. So going to Grandport, you can get these 2 birds. The only thing they do is attack you. So once you get the encounter, they just attack you and then you die and then you reload at the save point. So that's one of the faster deaths. But just don't die for a hit. That's always the most optimal. Okay, we're done with this Marcelim section. Marcelim is very nice to go to. Get more nuts, more pomegranates, more soul stones. And also these 2 very nice pieces of equipment that are just lying in that room for you to take. High House's armor and Enchanted Circlet. So these 2 are very nice because they're going to give our very squishy characters a lot of defense and a lot of bulk. And throughout this run, we're going to be manipulating, or we're going to be setting up our characters in ways that they can avoid getting 1-shot or 2-shot by bosses. And this is also a very important part of the route, because it essentially makes the fights a lot more consistent. I'm doing a save and quit here. Notice I'm saving like as far as I can away, as far as possible from the save point. That's just to reduce the number of steps I have to take after the save and quit. So I don't really care about this first part, running to the save point, because I'm not going to get an encounter. By going to Everholt here, if I'm very unlucky, I can get an encounter. So I just try to put things in my favor. Also, something to note is that I'm doing keyboard movement. So keyboard movement is slightly less efficient than controller movement, just because you can't take as sharp as good diagonals. But one thing nice about keyboard is that the menus are really fast. It's a lot faster than doing controller menus. So it's really just runner preference. I guess the main reason why I use keyboard movement is because I don't have a controller. Yeah, but I've gotten used to using the keyboard, so no complaints. But there certainly have been times where I get encounters like just before the next screen. So in those times, I wish I had a controller. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up this pomegranate here, and then I'm gonna go into Everholt Tunnels. I like to call this Ever Meme because it's a meme. You get the encounter here, and sometimes they don't want to kill you, they just take forever. And sometimes if you get the encounter here, some encounters you can actually break, and some of them you can actually kill if you're lucky enough to not get ambushed. And nice, we didn't get an encounter. So essentially just making it to the end there, that's the dangerous part. There's an optional boss at the end of these dungeons, and the game will ask you if you're ready to fight the optional boss. Obviously we're not going to do that, because it doesn't benefit us in any way. But the nice thing is saying no actually resets your step counter. We're gonna do that in between getting all these items. We're gonna loot Everhotanos for some really nice stuff. And this is one of the main reasons why you want Therion here. Because that knowledge stuff there, which we picked up from that purple chest, is gonna be the main weapon we're gonna use for first half of this run. Okay, so I'm gonna slap on all the equipment that we picked up. We picked up quite a few stuff. The Adamantine hat from Moth the Ice Dragon, which is the best hat in the game. Gives a lot of defense, a lot of elemental defense, but most importantly, gives us like, I think like 80 elemental attack, which is a lot for a hat. And we also got the Sorcerer's Robe in Everhold, a purchase, and that gives us a lot of bulk. I think it's like 100-ish physical defense, but it gives us like a whopping like close to 300 elemental defense, which is insane. And also gives us 50 elemental attack, so it's the highest elemental attack body armor in this game. So we're going to slap it on our main magic user. And elemental augmenter as well. And then for the Therion, because he's really squishy, we just give him the High House's armor and the whatchamacallit, Enchanted Circlet. One nice thing about the knowledge stuff is it also gives you a lot of speed. It makes Cyrus really fast. So even if you get like random encounters here, he's likely to go first because speed influences how likely you are to go early. We can use Cyrus to kill these encounters. Otherwise, we have to use a medium soapstone, which is not the end of the world, but it's nice to not have to use them. And we're going to pick up Ophi here. Ophi is the first characters whose story we're going to do, and with very good reason, which I'll explain later. But now we're just going to make our way over to the boss, Guardian. And this is the first boss where you're going to see us actually use spells instead of like just chucking stones and stuff. We're still going to use a stone, but most of the damage is going to come from Cyrus. Guardian is pretty tanky. He has the second highest HP out of any Chapter 1 boss. He has about 8,600 HP, so about 6,006 is going to come from Cyrus, and then the remaining damage we're going to use in Medium Soulstone. Okay, so if you're very unlucky, if Guardian hits Ophi and crits, and Ophi's arranged to die. But we're not going to die here, so it's fine. We're going to break Guardian before it does anything. So it's very nice to see. Got a very good fight here. We're going to donate BP to Cyrus, so we can fully boost this Blizzard on the next turn. And we're going to chuck one of the stones here. And there you go, that's Guardian. Very strong. You can see that all the equipment we put in Cyrus made him really strong. And yeah, this is just a glimpse of how strong elemental damage can be in this game. And it's gonna be what we're gonna be using for most of this run. Pretty much the entire run, actually. We're gonna be using elemental damage. Okay, now we're gonna pick up Best Boy, Alphen. There's a few reasons why he's Best Boy. First of all, we're gonna ditch Therion because we don't need him for now. Alphen is one of the best characters in this game because of his talent known as Concoct. Concoct is a skill that allows Alphen. It's exclusive to Alphen. It is a skill that allows him to mix together ingredients to produce various effects. And these concocts can be used to take out shields, which is very nice. Because oftentimes they take out multiple shields, so you don't have to boost. And some of these can be used to restore VP to your party, and that is why we're going to want an Essence of Pomegranate for one of the fights later. So normally after Alphen's Chapter 1 we would purchase one, but because we got one from the Whistlewood just now, we can save about 6 seconds running to the NPC and purchasing it. Okay, now we got Blooded Viper. We'll use Blizzard here to take those snakes out, the little dudes out. We're gonna chuck 2 stones. Shadow Soulstone here, which is weak 2, and then we're gonna chuck a medium Soulstone. So there's a good chapter, didn't get any encounters. And I think I got 1 Herb of Healing, might have gotten 2. It's a status healing item, and you're gonna want like at least 2 of them for safety. So if I got 2, I'm able to skip purchasing it in this shop, which will save a few frames. I got 1, so I'll purchase another one. Purchase a few concoct ingredients, because we're gonna make use of concoct very shortly. And I believe I got 2 Essence of Pomegranates. You only need 1, but the extra one will allow you to save a pomegranate later. So that's nice, because extra pomegranates is always nice. Means you don't have to pick up, for example, pomegranates that are in chests. You can save a few seconds there. But yeah, Essence of Pomegranate is the concoct equivalent of the pomegranate item consumable, which we talked about earlier. And there's a concoct which allows Alphen to give 2 BP to the entire party. And you can see how strong that is, because pomegranates normally can only be given to 1 character. So using that concoct, Pomegranate Panacea, essentially gives everyone in your party 1 more big hit. It's very efficient, and it's one of the main reasons why Alphen is so good in this speedrun. One of the big reasons, not the main reason. The main reason why he's good is because of concoct, but that concoct in particular is very strong, especially in the fight that we're going to use it on. Okay, so like I said, we're going to rush OV chapters first. The reason being is that completing OV stories unlocks a post-game item known as the Badge of Friendship. The Badge of Friendship increases JP gained from all battles by 1.5 times. And like I said, we're going to need a lot of JP to learn skills later. So having the Badge of Friendship cuts down the amount of time that we need to get JP. And I also mentioned the scrutinize that Cyrus has to do. This is the 30% scrutinize that he has to do, so hopefully Cyrus gets it. Failed 1. Nice, second try, that's very nice. Yeah, really you just want Cyrus to hit his scrutinize within the first 5 tries. Otherwise you lose like 30 seconds. Okay, we're going to do the first big menu of this run. Feed all my nuts here. Most of them are going to go to Ophi because she's going to be the main damage dealer. Teach Trust Evasive Maneuvers. Teach Furion Armor Corrosive Amputation here. Okay, so a few skills there. The main skill I want to talk about is Armor Corrosive. So, mention Hired Help. Hired Help does not deal damage based off your stats, but it does take the enemy stats into account. So, by using Armor Corrosive, which is a physical defense debuff, we can increase the damage dealt by our Hired Help by 1.5 times. And that's very nice because it allows us to stretch our Hired Help money a lot further. And other than that, we made Ophi the main. We geared Ophi up to be the main source of elemental damage, because she's gonna be the main magic user in this speedrun. This route's called the Ophelia sorcerer route. In the past, Cyrus used to be the main sorcerer. Cyrus has the highest elemental attack out of any character in this game, so it made a lot of sense to make him the main sorcerer. Got caught by surprise here. Hopefully nobody dies. Elfin is the main one that might die. Okay, there we go. Bit of time loss, but nobody died, so don't want to complain too much. Okay, where was I? Cyrus used to be the main sorcerer because, you know, you don't have to invest a lot into him to make him a very strong unit, basically. But the main problem with Cyrus is that he has a passive ability known as Study Foe. And Study Foe reveals a weakness of the enemy every time you enter a battle. And it's very nice for casual playthrough, knowing the weaknesses. But for speedrun, it really doesn't. Oh, I can use a shadow here, I forgot. I was gonna go up to the thunder, which works as well, but shadow is slightly more optimal. Yeah, it's very nice for casual playthrough, but in the speedrun we know all the weaknesses, so it doesn't matter. And the Study Foe animation takes 2 seconds, so every time you go into a battle with Cyrus, you lose 2 seconds. And over the course of the speedrun, you lose about 2.5 minutes due to Study Foe. That's why we wanted to route out Cyrus. Okay, here's Horavanir, or Doggo. On the first turn, he doesn't do anything, he just gets angry. So we take advantage of this, and we just break him. And then we can kill him before it does anything. Apply Armor Corrosive here, like I mentioned. This is the first fight we're going to use Vets in. Amputation as well. Very strong axe skill. With the Death Cleaver, which we picked up in Everhold Tunnels. One of the best axes in this game. And here's Hired Help. Let him rip. Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, Hired Help Veterans is going to be our main source of damage for this early part of the run when Ophi is not super strong yet. And you can see why. It deals so much damage. Pay a bunch of money. Just use Hired Help and delete bosses, basically. Yeah, but the only downside is that it's very expensive. So that's why it's not sustainable. We want to move on to a more sustainable option. But for now, Hired Help is very efficient. Okay, thanks Cyrus, we can purchase these bracelets here. Okay, yeah, I didn't talk during that menu because it's also a very big menu. But essentially, the most important thing we did there was to give bracelets to everyone. So empowering bracelets are what we needed Cyrus to scrutinize. And these are very important because they give 500 maximum HP per bracelet to any character that's equipping it. So this is the easiest way to increase your bulk. A lot of armor doesn't give enough defense to make it really worth it to get lots of armor. So increasing your maximum HP via empowering bracelets, and later we're going to get the empowering necklace, which is an upgraded empowering bracelet. This is going to be the most efficient bang for your buck way to increase your survivability. So making our way through Ophi's Chapter 3. And we're going to do the fast travel thing again. I'm going to warp out of Goldshore here. I'm going to go to Still Snow. So the next time I'm back in Goldshore, It's not Noble Court. The next time I'm back in Goldshore, I can go to the dungeon because the entrance is to the dungeon. You go there from the first screen in Goldshore. If you want to run all the way back to the first screen, you have to go out of the church, and then you have to run all the way through, all the way back through the Manor District. It's very slow, so that's why we do this. And we're gonna take this time to go to Northreach. It's Therion's Chapter 4 town. We're really not gonna go back there until like the end of the run. But there are some pretty nice items which we can pick up first while we're there, before we go back later. So these two lizards here. This is a fixed encounter here, so you always get this encounter. And that's really nice because you are able to plan for this encounter very easily. They both have only one weakness, but they're both weak to axes, and nice enough, we have hired help. Oops, I was already at the top. Nicely enough for us, we already have hired help bandits on 2 of our characters, which deals AoE axe damage. So we have 2 characters that are able to break this encounter very easily. So can kill it very nicely. Empowering Necklace here, I mentioned, it gives 1000 maximum HP, so it's 2 Empowering Bracelets in 1 accessory slot. Very important for survivability. There's some nuts here. And grab this Master's Longbow, which we're going to sell for money. Slap on the bracelet immediately. Feed the nuts. But yeah, last time we didn't use to go to Northreach early. So the strat, intuitively enough, is called Early Northreach. So it's one of the newer strats for the Galdera speedrun. Essentially, why we used to go to Northreach like way later in the run, because then afterwards we would have the Badger Friendship, then we can get extra JP from that encounter. But doing it early allows us to get access to that Empowering Necklace, and also the Magic L that's in Northreach, which improves some of the ranges in the early game. This upcoming boss fight in particular. So it's very nice. Also allows you to purchase fewer Empowering Bracelets, which saves money. Skip the encounter outside, which is very nice. And get the fastest encounter here. Nice. So chuck a light soulstone, and it's going to clear him out. This is the fastest encounter here. You have a light soulstone specifically for this encounter. So this was a very good chapter. We had a very fast lizards fight into one encounter OV free into a very fast fight. The fastest fight here. So overall a very nice chapter 3. Okay, it's quite simple. Just take turns breaking them. The palm elfin up. And take turns applying armor corrosive, and then at the end use 1 hired help veterans. And use bandits to break him. You can use Elfin's axe, but Elfin's not very accurate, and this guy has pretty high evasion. So using bandits ensures that we don't miss. Okay. Now we have armor corrosive set up on both of them. And we use Tressa to break the last one. I help mercenaries, does he do the sword? Oh, I got a perfect turn order here, it's very nice. Easy. Very nice chapter. Yeah, so this fight, without the magic L on OV, I think it would be a range to kill. It might not even be a range to kill. Otherwise, you would need like a medium soulstone to kill. So yeah, having that magic L saves a bit of resources, saves a bit of inputs as well. Having to go to that, having to go to that soulstone in the menu. We're already finished. We're already done with Ophi's chapter 3, so we only have one more chapter left. Before that, we're gonna run a few errands. So remember I said that Kit side quest is mandatory to unlock Galdera. So after you feed Kit, he ends up in Noble Court. So we're here to do the second part of his side quest. He has, I believe, 3 parts to his side quest, and there are 2 side quests in total for Galdera. So Kit's quest is one of them, the other being Alphys' side quest, which we'll do later. And while we're here, we're also going to start Therion's Chapter 2. So Therion's Chapter 2 is very long. You have to go, you have to cross between the first and second screen a lot. But that's not a very big issue, because we can just warp in and out and do other stuff while we're at it. So we're going to go to Victor's Hollow, and then we're going to make our way over to Dusk Barrow. Dusk Barrow is Cyrus's Chapter 4. It's also one of the later Chapter 4s, which we're going to complete. I believe we only complete Cyrus's Chapter 4 about close to 3 hours into the run. But there's a lot of money in Dusk Barrow, so that's why we want to go there. And we need a lot of money for Ophi's Chapter 4, because we're going to use 4 higher type veterans and get the encounter here. So I do a save and quit here just to make sure I don't get an encounter. But our characters are pretty stacked right now, so even if we get the encounter, even though we're only, I don't know, like level 15 or something, level 17. And this is level 45 area. Even if we get an encounter, we can kill it. And this is pretty much Ophi, when we start Ophi 2 is when we're going to want to start taking extra encounters. So that's why I've been killing random encounters. In Ophi 2, in Ophi 3, I killed the lizards as well. I'm going to want to take a certain number of encounters to learn skills. And if possible, I would prefer to skip the Dusk Barrow encounter and then take 1 encounter later. The reason being is because I don't have the badge yet, so it's more efficient to take encounters later. So being able to skip the encounter is, to me, it's more optimal. But again, if you get that encounter before the save point, you can just take it. It's like really not a big deal. But yeah, one of the complexities in Galdera speedrunning is that you want to be able to manage your XP and JP. You want to keep tabs on your XP and JP. And you want to ideally farm the minimum amount of encounters you need to learn your skills. So a good Galdera runner will be able to tell which encounters he can skip, or he or she can skip, and which encounters they can't. Yeah, I got caught by surprise here, which is not a big deal. This is also like the lizards. It's a fixed encounter here. It's always the same. And they are both... Oh. Sorry, often. They're both weak to both. And fortunately enough for us, we have Arrow Storm here. Okay, so this is fine. I just need to toss an Endstone here, which would fix the damage. Ah, there we go. There's an Endless Items prompt. So, I have it on a few of my characters right now. Endless Items gives you a 25% chance to duplicate an item every time you use it. So it's a nice bonus. It allows us to save resources sometimes. Which is nice, because Soulstones are very limited. And if you have extra Soulstones, you can use to speed up your JP grinding later. So yeah, normally I would use a Peacock, but because Alphen unfortunately died, I had to revive him. I'm gonna do the shop here, sell a bunch of items. And I have 95,000 leaves right now, which is normal. Because it's not super high, it's not very low either. So we're on a good track when it comes to money. Okay, we're gonna want to take one encounter in this chapter, so ideally that's on the second screen. If you're really unlucky, you can get one before the second screen, but it's not very likely. And the second screen has some pretty dangerous encounters, namely elementals. So elementals, they don't have a lot of HP, so you can kill them with soulstones. But if you get ambushed, they are pretty likely to kill you, because they have AoE attacks that chunk your party very heavily. So we're going to be hoping that we don't get ambushed. Nice, no encounter here. And here we're going to pick up a second adamantine hat. So we have one on Ophi right now for her damage. But adamantine hat is also very useful for bulk. So we're going to pick this one here, so we can give it to our characters for bulk. Slap it on Therion. I'm going to give Tressa the Enchanted Circuit. I'm going to give her Warrior here for more HP. And gonna learn a bunch of skills. Okay. This encounter is fine. Use Lightning Blast here to break. Oh dude, so unlucky. Okay, what do I want to do? Okay. I'll do this. I'm gonna donate VP to Ophi, and then probably we'll be able to have to eyeball my damage here. This is... I think I should be able to take it out with the... Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is one of the harder parts of Galdera speedrunning as well, is being able to kill encounters quickly. Because you aren't going to be able to get ideal encounters most of the time. Sometimes you're going to get ambushed, sometimes they might kill one of your characters. So you want to try to recover from these as quickly as possible. I got a bit unlucky there, but we're able to clear it pretty quickly. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Sometimes these dudes deal like to throw stones and you and deal a lot of damage to your party. Yeah, like this one. But as long as they don't throw multiple stones, you're fine. And we're gonna level from this this fight here, so we're going to go into Matthias with full HP. It's no monster perfume as well. It's a troll item which you can get. It comes up at the bottom of your menu, so like if you want to use soul stones quickly, you can't, because if you accidentally toss a monster perfume, it heals your opponent, so I don't want to do that. Oh, I forgot to play the text again. Whatever. I gotta go fast. Okay, armor corrosive. Defend with Ophi. And we are safe. Okay, as long as it uses consuming garnishers, we're safe. Thanks, dude. Keeping Tom is nice. That'll work here. See, Alphin's Concoct is very useful for breaking Matthias. Okay. Yep. Like I said, 4 vets, and he's dead. Got a very nice turn order here as well, Therion last. He doesn't need to do anything on the last turn. Tom, Tressa here. It's 4 veterans and Matthias is dead. Goodbye, Matthias. Pre-turn boss fight, not very difficult. As long as he doesn't kill you on kill Therion on first turn, you're fine. So this fight's relatively very safe. It's very safe. Basically, the only person that can die is Therion, and he has a 1 in 32 chance to die. And that only happens if Matthias uses attack first, and then he uses Consuming Darkness, both into Therion. It has to be in that order, because if he uses Consuming Darkness first and it goes into Therion, it will knock Therion under 30% HP. And we have a support skill known as Cover on Elfin that will absorb any physical attack that would go into any character that's below 30% HP. So Cover is very nice because it essentially allows our very squishy characters to survive. It allows our tankier characters to take hits for our squishier characters. And it's going to be relevant for a lot of fights to make sure we're safe. Okay, something that I did there, I stole the Flying Helm. Nice item, shout out to Zero, who also created this route. I'll explain that later. Purchase some nuts here. Purchase some stones. Only one discount, whatever. Complete this quest. Gives us a lot of money. And we're gonna go to Gold Shore. Okay, so the Flying Helm is a headgear that is extra critical. Why critical, you might ask? Why do we want critical? Well, in this game, critical hits deal 1.25 times the amount of damage. And that's very nice. Essentially just free damage. But critical hits aren't consistent. It's based off two things. The first thing it's based off is your critical stat, obviously. The second thing it's based off is an enemy's speed stat. So later on, we're going to use Amputation with Elfin. Amputation has a plus 100 crit modifier, which means that it's very likely to crit. And essentially, on most encounters, it's guaranteed to crit. But because the upcoming boss has so much speed, even though he's sitting on a chair and he's very old, he has a lot of speed. So much speed that Elfin is not guaranteed to crit his amputation. So with the Flying Helm, we give him just a bit of extra crit to secure the critical hit there. Okay, so we want to come to Gold Shore here to start Elfin's Chapter 2, and also to purchase the Magic Elf. That's the main thing we want to do. And we have to go back to the first screen. So if you've been following along with the theme, we're going to warp back later when we actually want to complete it. Okay, now Insane Switch again. Purchase some stuff. Sell a bunch of items. And money. Looks good. Okay, and this is where we're going to pick up Friendship Badge. We're going to pick it up as soon as possible. As soon as we finish OP4. Before we go into any other screen which will be killing encounters. Before we do any sort of battles or anything, we want the Friendship Badge to get as much JP as possible. That's why we're here. And what you do is you talk to that NPC with the orange bubble, and then you come to this little kit here, and then you purchase this flower from it. And you want to purchase it because the steal here is 3%. So, yeah, you want to purchase it. And when you purchase it, the little kit goes, "But that's my flower." And Tressa's just like, "Pleasure doing business with you." Tressa can be pretty brutal when it comes to negotiating. Okay, now we got the Friendship Badge. The next thing we want to do is to go to the Thief Shrine. Thief Shrine is the last shrine, I think, that we pick up. That's not a secret job. Oh no, I got the encounter right before the Thief Shrine. Oh, I surprised it. Let's go. I'm gonna run with it. There's no point killing this. Yeah, if you get this encounter, it feels bad, man, because you don't have the friendship badge, and you want to equip the friendship badge after you get the Thief Shrine, because then you can like combine the menus. Otherwise, you lose time having to go into the menu again. That's the OP. Get the friendship badge to Farion. You teach 4 thief skills here to unlock Snatch. Teach you 4 cleric skills to unlock Evil Ward. And we make you a merchant. And you get 1,000 spears. That's summon strength. And it's basic universe. Okay, a bunch of stuff I did there. Things I want to highlight. Obviously, we put the friendship badge and the flying helm. The big skill we taught to Tressa was Snatch. We haven't collected bosses up till now. Collect is a merchant skill that allows you to get money from bosses. And we haven't collected so far because either the bosses don't give a lot of money or they can't be collected. Certain bosses cannot be collected. What Snatch does is that it doubles the amount of money you can collect from bosses, which is very nice. And do this. Yeah, I want to take this encounter here. I will take this encounter because I didn't take the Dust Barrel encounter. And now I have the friendship badge, I can take this encounter. The encounter is very simple, just break the front one with bandits because it has more HP. Then you have Ophi do a lightning blast on the next turn, which will kill everything. Okay, nice fight. Where was I? Oh yeah, Snatch. Okay, a lot of the bosses now, from now on, are gonna give a lot of money, and we're gonna need a lot more money because we're gonna need to buy a lot of items. Okay, no, basically we're gonna need to buy a lot of items. I don't know what I was saying. We're gonna need to buy a lot of items, so we're gonna need a lot of money. Okay, we're still gonna use some veterans. That's the other thing I forgot. So we're gonna need money, 1 to use veterans, 2 to buy stuff. And some of this stuff is very expensive, so if you want a lot of money. Speaking of money, we get 15,000 leaves. Wait, didn't I? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, from this dude. And a revitalizing gem. Rushing Owl, Tressa. Okay, now we go to Victor's Hollow. Okay, so a lot of the bosses from now on are going to give a lot of money. And by having Snatch and Tressa, you can collect more money, and that's very, very nice. Other big skill I taught in the menu was Evil Ward. Evil Ward is very nice for consistency. It increases the chance that you have to escape from encounters. So for Chapter 1 and 2 areas, it pretty much guarantees escape. And then, oh, unlucky. I'll kill this encounter. And then I can skip the one inside. Encounter interrupted my train of thought. I'll explain Evil Ward right afterwards. Okay. Normally you don't get this encounter. It interrupted my train of thought. That's why. Okay, Evil Ward. For Chapter 1 and 2 areas, guarantees escape, essentially. For Chapter 3 and 4 areas, it doesn't guarantee escape, but it gives you a much higher chance of escaping. So you can usually escape in like 1 or 2 turns. as opposed to like 4 turns if you don't have Evil Warp. Hey, well, it's a bit unlucky I got the encounter outside, but that probably mean I'll just skip this encounter here. And it's not very ideal because we're not guaranteed to skip this encounter. I can break it. I'll break it. Maybe I'll just kill it, you know. It doesn't take that long to kill it. Extra JP. Doesn't matter. Oh, I should have given them some, yeah, it's fine. Should have given BP, but it's whatever. Just use a soulstone here. So yeah, I got a lot of encounters, so that's not ideal, because I lose a lot of time to taking extra encounters. But probably it means that I can skip a few encounters later, so I don't lose, like, as much time. Okay, so this upcoming fight, Drysang, this is our first secret boss fight. I want to do Drysang first, because beating him unlocks Sorcerer Job, which is the main source of damage for this, pretty much the entire run. And essentially you want to palm your merchants and do 6 vets. Everyone can survive 1 attack into the spell later, except Darion, and of course Darion gets hit. So I'm gonna have to find a time to heal up Darion. Okay, this is fine. Otherwise I have to use the Revitalizing Gem, but my turn order here allows for me to just do this. Use my extra Essence of Pomegranate here to instead of the Palm End. Yeah, this is also one of the best soundtracks. They Who Govern Reason. It's the secret boss soundtrack, and it's really good. And you're gonna collect a lot of money in Tressa. 80,000 leagues, thank you. If you had this game in English, you would say thank you when she collects from bosses, which is a fan favorite. Everybody loves Tressa. Okay, we're gonna use the OP Concoct. I even duped the Essence of Pomegranate. It's nice. You can save another Palm End later. And Amputation here. This is what we need the Flying Helm for, just to ensure that we crit. And these last 2 vets will be able to take Drysang out. Nice. Now we used to do this fight differently. We used to get extra items to decrease wind damage, and then we used to do a 7-turn Drysang. But eventually we figured out that you could actually do it in 6 turns, and Alphen is one of the main reasons why you can do it in 6 turns. And that allowed us to save a lot of time, because not only is the fight shorter by I think about 30 seconds, because we caught 1 turn, you also don't have to go and collect all the accessories, like the Wind and Tempest amulets. So overall, very good development for Galdera. 6 vets Drysang is pretty much standard in every category that does Drysang right now. Okay, we do the menu here. Sorcerer job because we have it. I want to start using Sorcerer as our main source of damage from now on. Okay, that's all. What's it again? Heightened senses and that sense. Yeah. Okay, normally I would kill encounters here, but because I have like a million JP right now, I don't need to kill encounters. So this is just something that I need. I opened the door and I got the encounter. It's so unlucky. Yeah, but anyway, that's one of the on-the-fly things that I'm just doing. Skipping encounters because I don't need them. And my JP looks pretty much set. I'm pretty much gonna be able to skip all the most of the random encounters from now on. For example, this one, which is a good thing we're skipping this because it really doesn't give that much JP. And here we are gonna see our first glimpse of Sorcerer. All of Sorcerer's spells are free hits, and they deal a lot of damage. We also taught Elemental Break, which is armor corrosive, except for elemental damage. So we're going to start using Peacock Shot a lot. It's a Dancer buff that increases elemental damage. You're going to start seeing Peacock Shot a lot, because it's going to be very important for increasing our Sorcerer's damage. Here, Glacia's Galdera, Ice Sorcerer spell. Omar should be left with less than 10,000 HP, so we can just use Holy Light here. No point wasting the extra SP. And you can see why Sorcerer is so strong. Lots of power. And it's also very nice for clearing random encounters, because as you could see, it hits every it's AoE. It's free hits AoE, so it's very nice, very strong. I want to start getting Curious. I've been purchasing Curious Blooms like when I can. Curious Blooms are another concoct ingredient. It gives some of the best concoct effects that Alphen can produce. Two main uses of Curious Bloom. There are 3 uses, but 2 which we'll see probably. The first being Curious Bloom plus Soothing Death plus Soothing Death plus Curious Bloom. This gives you AoE status immunity, which is very nice. We're gonna use it in the final dungeon, and maybe in one of the upcoming fights, depending on our turn order. Second thing is Curious Incense, which is Injurious Dust plus Curious Bloom. This applies AoE Leg Hold and deals 1 hit of ice to every enemy. Leg Hold is a status condition that makes your opponents act last. So essentially it means that if you use Curious Incense, all of your opponents are going to go last on the next turn, which is very nice. Okay, that was the first 80% steal that we'll be doing in Ethereum. We're going to be doing a handful of 80% steals from now on. And Therion, being the worst boy, likes to fail 80% steals like it's 3%. But over there, we stole the Elemental Heavy Armor. It's similar to the Sorcerer's Robe, just a slightly weaker version of it. Essentially, why we want to steal it is because for the final dungeon and the final boss, we're gonna be using 2 magic users. So we used to grab 2 Sorcerer's Robes, But one day, Zero forgot to get the sorcerer's robe, the second sorcerer's robe. So he just made do with the elemental heavy armor, and it worked. So that's how we accidentally saved like 30,000 leaves. Which is very nice. Yeah, elemental heavy armor is it gives about I think it's like 36 elemental attack, so it's not much less than the sorcerer's robe, and again it's enough for speedrun purposes. Okay, want to kill one encounter here. The screen's super long. Okay, Ophi first would be nice, but Darren's first is fine as well. And I'm gonna use a pump. That's on you. Nice, dude. Oh, I didn't have to use it. Lux would kill the skeleton. Lux would kill the skeleton even without, I think. But whatever. That's simple. Ignis are there, take out 3 shields. Quick shot. We also have a Show Goes On, which is a passive on Tressa that increases buff durations by 1 turn. Break him here. Elemental Break to increase damage. Armor Corrosive, because we're going to use Vets. And we're going to collect with Tressa. So defend here. Make sure we go first, and collect. 99%, but I haven't seen it fail before. Also, notice how I have 0 SP here. Like, it's nice to know how much SP you need in these fights. So I noticed that I had 52 before this fight, and I need 92 SP, so I only needed to heal once. Usually it's not that exact though. But yeah, this Tressa's chapter 3. And now we're going to do Tressa's chapter 4. This is the second character which we're going to finish the story. There's a good reason why we want to do Tressa's chapter next. It unlocks a magic nut, which we'll be able to get later. And the reason why we have to get this magic nut, the Cyrus sorcerer route didn't get this because Cyrus has a lot of elemental attack. Ophi doesn't have quite as much, so we're going to want the magic nut to make sure she deals more damage, similar to Cyrus. And we unlock that by doing Tressa's chapter 4. Money here is fine. Also purchase an unerring bracelet from that shop. Increases our accuracy because some of these bosses we're going to be needing to use Elemental Break on. And Elemental Break is not very accurate. So having the unerring bracelet helps a lot. Actually guarantees that we can use E-Break on Esmeralda coming up. Nice. Good job, Varion. Super satisfying when you just steal all 5 stones in one shot. So far, Therion's proving that he's not the worst boy. Trying to prove, rather. So we'll see if he keeps it up. Okay, on this next screen, we're gonna pick up Force Shield. Force Shield, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've seen this encounter. I knew it was possible, but this is actually the first time I've seen it. This is very unlikely to get. I don't know what to say about it. It's very cringe getting this encounter. And I didn't escape from it as well. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Evil Ward. No thank you, Evil Ward, because I still failed to escape from it. Alright, good thing we ran second try. Okay, gonna slap on the unerring bracelet, optimize you, take off the bracelet, put the necklace on you. Just gonna make sure everyone's at full. Okay. Main thing about the menu which I want to talk about is taking off the unerring bracelet from Therion. Might seem counterintuitive, like, why are you taking off items from Therion? It's supposed to increase his survivability. Well, oh my gosh, are you looking at this? See that thing? Are you seeing this? 2 encounter OP Tressa 4. It's something you don't see every day. Okay, but basically, actually we're over leveled here, so whatever. But basically, normally, by taking off the bracelet, you would ensure that any attack would hit Therion under 30%. Okay, we'll see. Yeah. Nice dude. Yeah, because if you had the bracelet on Therion, Esmeralda's normal attack wouldn't put Therion in cover range. So by taking out the bracelet there, we actually manipulate his HP in such a way that both Red Blade and normal attack put him under 30%. And Red Blade's kind of interesting because even though it does elemental damage, it's considered a physical hit. So cover is going to be able to protect Therion. And other than Therion, Ophi is also going to be put into cover range by both attacks, and then Alphen and Tressa can both survive 2 hits. So that fight is 100% safe as long as you're at the normal level. In this case, we're actually over leveled, so Therion probably wouldn't have been put into cover range. But even then, it's like a 1 in 32 chance for him to die, and Ophi as well. So it's a 1 in 16 that someone died there. Yeah, 1 in 16. Okay, now we get credits. So the credits roll after you finish your your starting characters chapter 4. But obviously the run doesn't end here because we haven't beaten the final boss. But this is a nice time for runners to take a break, take a bathroom break if they need to. Go and get some snacks, whatever, chill out. And yeah, it's just nicely timed 8 minutes long credits roll, and you can enjoy the music because the credits theme is very nice. And I'm gonna have some water because my throat is not used to commentating very long runs.
All right.
And this is also a good time for donations. I was just about to mention that. So yeah, go ahead.
No new donations yet, but I will take this opportunity to go ahead and plug all the things I can plug. Thank you everyone so much for watching. You are currently watching Speed Stuff for Charity 8. We are raising money in support of the LEAD organization, or Linking Efforts Against Drugs. To donate, you can type !donate in chat, and you can follow the link there. You can apply your donations to both bid wars and incentives at the same time. You don't have to only pick one or the other. You can do both. If you can't donate, we do appreciate everyone being here and supporting us just by watching and hanging out and all that fun stuff. If you don't know who we are, Speed Stuff for Charity, we are a speedrun marathon team that is dedicated annually to raising money for charities. We've raised over $6,000 in our 6 years of doing marathons, and we're going to keep doing this so long as there's interest in the community. We've raised money for St. Jude's, Doctors Without Borders, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, just to name a few organizations. And speaking of organizations, the one that we're raising money for, LEAD, they are a substance use prevention organization that believes young people are capable of making good decisions. The core reason LEAD exists is to significantly reduce drinking, drug use, and other risky behavior by youth while working simultaneously to eliminate the root causes of these issues in the future. To learn more, you can go to linkingefforts.com or golead.co. Alternatively, they also offer a mental health text for help hotline, which is the only youth-focused mental health crisis text hotline in the United States that is available 24/7. It's fully anonymous and staffed by licensed mental health counselors. To learn more, you can go to linkingefforts.com/text-for-help-app with another slash after that. We thank everyone so much for watching. We're currently at $1,271 of our goal of $2,000. Our next major goal is $1,500, which at that point we will be having the bonus run for Bugsnax. That's going to be coming up in a few runs here. We still have the Resident Evil block after this, and then Metal Gear Solid. The Metal Gear Solid incentive to upgrade from any percent to all dog tags is at $111 out of $150, so we only need $39 for that to be met. And then our current poll that we have going on for Resident Evil 2 Remake is a category bid war that is the run right after Octopath Traveler. Currently in the lead, Claire A is winning $45 to Leon A, which is currently at $1. So to those in chat, you still have about a little under 2 hours or so to change that up. If you want to see Leon A, you still have time to change that lead from Claire. Yeah, thanks everyone so much for watching. We hope you continue to enjoy for the rest of our event and for the rest of this run.
Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Yeah. Okay. I guess I can talk more about the route. So, like I said, this is the Ophelia Sorcerer route. Used to do it with Cyrus. Ophelia Sorcerer route has a few advantages over Cyrus. So the main thing is you don't have Study Foe, so you save 2.5 minutes there. You also have a more consistent late game because of Ophelia's path action, which is Guide. So Guide allows you to, you saw it in Atlas and Noble Court just now when we were doing Kids Quest, allows you to bring NPCs around, and this is going to be useful for completing quests. The counterpart to Ophelia's path action is Primrose's Allure, and there are 2 side quests at near the end of this run which you're going to need to complete for very important weapons that have 30% allures, or about 30% allures. So this is it's not the most consistent thing. It's essentially Cyrus's Saint Spirit Scrutinize, except you have to do it 3 times in a single run. So having Ophelia to be able to guide these NPCs, because she's at a high level, her guide is gated by levels instead of Primrose's percentage based path action. Because you have Ophi, you can have much more consistent late game without having to worry about Primrose failing her allures. And again, you can only do this in the Ophelia Sorcerer route because Ophelia is in your party for the entire run, gaining levels as along the way. In the Cyrus Sorcerer route, because Cyrus is the Sorcerer, Ophelia, you only have her for her chapters 1 to 4. That's it. Afterwards, you just delete Ophelia and you only get her back at the end, in Gate of Fitness. So that's also one nice thing that you have with the Ophelia Sorcerer route. The trade-off is that you have to do a bit more menuing. For the Cyrus Sorcerer route, the route flows very nicely in that you don't have to swap characters in and out of your party because you can complete their chapters in a very very convenient order. Whereas with Ophelia, later on we're going to want to complete Cyrus's chapters 2 and 3. We're going to have to take Cyrus back into her party. So we're going to have to do a bit more menuing and tavern swaps there to change up our party. But overall, it still saves time because you still cut out Steady Foe. The other thing you have to do is you have to get the Magic M, which again, I mentioned, you have to supplement Ophi's magic attack because she doesn't have as high of a base magic attack as Cyrus. Another difference is that Ophelia, even though she doesn't have as much offensive prowess as Cyrus, she does make up for that by having more bulk. And this is very apparent in some of the fights. So, for example, Matthias, in the Cyrus route, both Cyrus and Therion can die. So it's a 1 in 16 chance that someone dies. Whereas with Ophelia, it's 1 in 32, because Ophelia is bulky enough to survive. And then you can also get Althen early. In Cyrus Sorcerer route, you get Althen late. In Ophelia Sorcerer, you can get Althen early, and Althen is very, very bulky. He has like a ton of HP, so he can survive 2 hits. Yeah, Esmeralda for Cyrus Sorcerer route is also, I think, slightly riskier. I think it's like a 1 in 32 or 1 in 16. Can't remember the exact figure, but in Ophelia Sorcerer, it's guaranteed. It's a nice bonus. Okay, we're done with the credits. We can actually do the rest of the run now. We're just gonna finish up chapter 2 and 3s. The first one we're gonna do is Alphin's chapter 2. So notice we're back on the first screen after warping back. So the screen kind of hates me. I always get an encounter here on a good run, but because this run probably not very good now, okay. I spoke too soon. I was gonna say because this run's probably not very good now because of the terrible Transit 4. I'll probably not get the encounter here. But the game hates me, so I still got the encounter. Thankfully, the encounter inside this cave is not very common. It's not as common as the one outside, so don't get it most of the time. If you're very unlucky, you can also get it. Right, same formula, you've seen this before. Elemental Break. 1 spell on turn 2, 1 spell on turn 3. And donate BP to your sorcerer in between. Spacious here, because these ads have a lot of HP. They have like 9,000 HP, so Ignis won't kill them. You're pretty high on our JP still. I didn't even kill encounters in Tressa 2, and I got a pretty good encounter in Chapter 3. We'll probably be able to skip all random encounters from now on. And right after we're done with Alphin's Chapter 2, we can go to Moonstruck Coast again, because the last part of Kit's quest is going to be here. It's going to take place here. And that's also why we purchased the Lapis Lazuli, if you noticed, in Grandport, because we needed to complete this quest. Steal the Primeval Robe here, which is a nice piece of equipment. A nice piece of armor which you can steal for 100%. Primeval Robe is very nice because not only does it give not only it's just more armor, it gives a max SP increase, so that's actually very relevant for our Galdera setup. The ideal fight has the SP routed to routed exactly, basically. If you have the ideal fight, Therion will have 0 SP at the end of the fight with Primeval Robe. Okay, so we're doing these bosses in a very specific order. We are doing Therion 2 now because finishing Therion's Chapter 2 puts you back in Boulderfall, and Boulderfall is where you can purchase Magic M that you unlock after finishing Tressa's Chapter 4. So this is the reason why we have to do Tressa 4 before Therion 2. Hey, if you're lucky, you can skip the encounter here, although it's very common to get it. Hey, I'm lucky. I'm actually lucky for once. I think I'm level, but it's fine. Because I can heal Ophi's SP in this fight. Okay, rinse and repeat, same strategy. Except this time you can use Ignis to kill the ass. And then on the next turn, use Lux. Okay, augmentation. I heal OP's SP to full here. This means that I don't have to heal her SP before the next boss fight. Okay, we're done with Therion's Chapter 2. Very easy. And now we're gonna pick up Cyrus. So while we're here in Boulderfall, we're gonna pick up the Magic M, and then we're gonna go to the tavern, which is just right next to the NPC. And then we're gonna get Cyrus back into our party. Because now we're gonna do Cyrus's Chapters 2 and 3. I can steal this nut, but I prefer to purchase it because I don't trust Therion. It's a nice menu. This used to be one of my worst menus, but I've gotten much better at it. It's basically just an equipment menu to reallocate your equipment. Despite this, Cyrus is still really, really squishy. And it's gonna matter for the upcoming Chapter 3 boss fight. It doesn't matter in Chapter 2, not that much. Cyrus's gimmick in his story is that he plays detective, so you have to go around scrutinizing a bunch of people and then you have to answer a quiz. But because we're speedrunners, we already know the answer. For this chapter, it's 222. Two, and 2. I think if you're running English voices, you would say "but of course" here. I can't remember exactly. Speaking of which, the voice lines in this game is there. People love the voice lines in this game. They're very iconic, especially the English ones. Japanese has some cool ones as well. Okay, here we got Gideon. Nothing too difficult about Gideon. Basically, yeah, same stuff. Elemental break. Okay. I'm unlucky, so I get both of the ads before Ophi. Yeah, I want to kill Cyrus here so he doesn't die. If he gets double tapped, he might die here. Yep. Okay, it's fine. Okay, this level is also nice because you can kill Gideon with 2 Ignis. He doesn't have a lot of HP, so you can use 2 Ignis Ardor to kill him. But if you're 1 level lower, you have to use Lux Conjurer. Just something to take note. Okay, menu time. Everybody loves menus. I don't have to heal anybody's SP, that's kind of strange. Normally, because I have a lot more XP now than normal. Normally you don't level from that fight, but in that case everyone did. Which is nice, it saves a bit of time because you don't have to heal people. So otherwise you have to go and heal everyone up. And normally Ophi doesn't have enough SP there. Okay, this upcoming boss fight is one of the more scary ones. It's one of the disadvantages that the Ophi route has compared to Cyrus route. The reason being, Cyrus is extremely squishy here. In Cyrus Rook route, Cyrus is quite buff because he has a lot of armor. And also you have Alphen in your party. But we don't have that luxury here. You have to make do with squishy Cyrus. Cyrus, I believe, is pretty much the squishiest character in this game, along with Primrose, but I think Primrose has higher base HP. Cyrus has slightly higher base defenses. Another quiz here, this time the answer is free. So yeah, Yvonne is a pain because Yvonne has 2 ads. These ads like to use a skill called Tornado Go Brrr. And it hits everyone very hard. And if Cyrus or Therion get hit a lot, they will die. So you don't want to see that. Oh, there we go. There's Therion's first 80% fail. There's the second. Hey, whatever. Therion just teasing us there. So I think we had like people fail like 3 or 4 80% in a row. I mean, good thing it's not 5, but you still wouldn't like to see that. Imagine if you failed 5 80% in a row. That would be like incredibly troll. You'd probably just rage quit and reset. Especially in like Stoneguard, the tavern's so far away. Probably just reload the autosave. In Grandport, the red resets 100,000 leaves, by the way. Nice no encounter here. We can get an encounter here sometimes. It's quite Monka-esque. Okay, hopefully nobody dies here. Otherwise it's pretty much the same. Elemental break. It should be safe. One of the ads is going before Ophi, so hopefully we don't get super tornado. And chose to hit in Cyrus, it's not good. So okay, now we're safe. And we do see, we see 1 tornado. Fortunately, Cyrus didn't get shot down. These are good rolls. Essentially, at a lower level, Yvonne's a range. I think I'm actually 1 level higher, so Yvonne's not a range here. Thank you. Yeah, notice how I'm using a lot more SP now. That's because I have a passive skill known as Elemental Aid on Ophi. This doubles your SP cost, but increases your elemental damage by 1.5 times. So SP management gets a bit tighter now, but you really want that damage. And nice thing about Ophi is that she also has the highest base SP of any character in this game, which is very nice because, for example, in Cyrus route, you would have to give extra. You would have to give SP accessories to Cyrus, I believe, but Ophi doesn't need that, but she's way better character than Cyrus. Okay, this is a new strat. It's the most recent strat in the speedrun. It's called Early Haunted. No points for guessing what we do. We pick up Haunted early. But the reason why we want to pick up Haunted is because we want her to start Alphys' side quest. Which we will need her path action, which is Provoke. And no encounter, nice. The encounter here is quite annoying if you get it. Because you have Study Foe, so if you get an encounter, it's like extra 2 seconds time loss than any other encounter. But this is the only place Cyrus can lose his time now. Yeah, after this, we just like... After this, we banish Cyrus into the Shadow Realm. Or at least like until the end of the run where we actually have to get him back to do his chapter 4. But he's gonna be gone for quite a while. So he can just sit in the tavern and reflect upon all the runs he killed because he missed his Saint Spirit Scroots. Hey, nice, I skipped 2 encounters. Luck's finally turning in my favor. Maybe. So yeah, we used to not do Haunted early. The reason for this is incredibly dumb. It's really funny. Basically, you want Alphen and Haunted in your party for this part if you want to do early Haunted. But normally we would have Cyrus in a party. So we can pick up Haunted, but then we can't pick up, like, we don't have Alphen in the party. And then you might ask me, but wait, you can just swap. Didn't you swap like both Alphen and Haunted into the party? Well, yeah, I did, but the thing is, we didn't realize we could do that until like until one day I was just like, wait, I think you can do that. I tried it and I'm like, wait a minute. The answer was right in front of our eyes the whole time, and we didn't realize that we can use the we can swap multiple characters into our party when we're picking up characters, and then and then afterwards we just did early hunt. Oh, Alphys is gone. Bye, Alphys. I wasn't even paying attention there. Okay. Yeah, basically you want Haunted to start that quest, and the reason why you want to do early Haunted is because Alphys, for the second part of Alphys' quest, he spawns in Saints Ridge, and then you can do everything together. You have to do Alphen's Chapter 3, which is very long, and you have to go, you have to travel between the 2 screens a lot. And on top of that, you also want to do Alphys' side quest. So last time when we didn't do early Haunted, we used to warp back to Saints Bridge one extra time to do the quest. But now we can do it all in one go. So that saves quite a bit of time not having to run through Saints Bridge again. We just go there to start Alphen's Chapter 3, and now we can. Now we're in Wellspring. We're doing Therion's Chapter 3, and this is also convenient because we have to go to the tavern to steal the quest item. And then we can just get Tressa back into the party. Yay, best girl's back. So yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot of things in Saints Bridge. So we're gonna be warping back very shortly. Right after this cutscene here, we're gonna trigger another cutscene and then we're gonna go to Saints Bridge. We're gonna be going to Saints Bridge a total of 3 times. So we've already gone there once, so after this it's 2 times. Then after Fairium 3 it's 1 more time. We have to warp back to Wellspring here, but since we have to go to Saints Bridge, we can also do that, although it's not mandatory. But as part of the route, it's most efficient to do it this way. So now we're going to do Alphys' side quest part 2, and this is why we also need Alphin in the party, not just to start his chapter 3, but also to Inquire Alphys here. Inquire is the level-gated version of Cyrus' Scrutinized. And if you're wondering why we can't use Alphin for the bracelet scroots, it's because we need Alphin to be at level 35 for that, which is way too high. So we have to use Cyrus basically. Okay, nice, we stole the pomegranates there. Nice free pomegranates there. Inquire this lady here, and right after this we're gonna purchase our first battle-tested weapon, the battle-tested staff, and this is a staff that gives more elemental attack than the knowledge staff, which we're currently using. So even though the knowledge staff is already one of the best staffs in the game, there are some staffs that are still higher in elemental attack. The difference between BT staff and knowledge staff is that the knowledge staff has that 99 speed modifier, which is useful in some fights, but for some the upcoming fights we're gonna want that. Oh no, not steel. We're gonna want that extra firepower. No discount, which is sad, but whatever. If you're lucky, you can get a you can get a refund, like a rebate. From that purchase, and Professor refunds you like 22,000, which is a lot. But it's not a big deal. At worst, if you don't have enough money later for, basically you just want enough money later to be able to purchase an item early, the Viper Dagger. If you don't have enough money, you can just delay getting the Viper Dagger, or you can sell a few items in the shop. But if you have enough money, if you get lots of discounts, if you have enough money, then you can not have to do that. Basically, saves more time. Or not lose time, basically. Okay, these dudes here, just use OP to clear them. Bye-bye. By the way, if you like anime, OP is voiced by Ai Kayano, who is the voice of Darkness. And that No Game No Life character. I forgot her name. Force Shield. Bracelet, optimize outfit, give you the badge, another bracelet, optimize you, give you the necklace. Yeah, we want the BT staff for this fight. So, a few of these upcoming fights, we're gonna want Ovi to go slow. That's why we don't want a knowledge staff on her. On top of that, we also want the extra damage from the BT staff. Oh, she still goes first, whatever. In this case, we use a Glacier's Claw, and then we have to use a Wind Soulstone here. Nice dude. Let's defend here, I guess. Try. Yeah, we should kill him. Gareth doesn't have a lot of HP, so he has about 39,000, so as long as you're eyeballing his HP and you know how much damage Ovi generally deals, it's fine. Everyone level, I think, from that fight, so it's nice I don't have to heal before this next boss fight. Our second secret job. And put Tressa here. So, second secret job boss fight. Steora, the Starseer job. So if you ever wonder where the cave is, just the cows are pointing in the direction of the cave. So just follow the cows. Steora is one of pretty much if not the hardest boss fights in this game. The reason being is it's very unpredictable. She always confuses one person on the first turn. And if she confuses the wrong person and they lose a turn, things can get very dicey. So we're praying that she doesn't troll us here. Okay, we're good here. So just need to use Earth Clarity here to heal you. You have to defend. Because we want Alfrix up there. I haven't explained Alfrix, but Divine Skill of the Cleric class, it's like the ultimate, Cleric ultimate. And what it does, it gives Ophi double the skill cast. So she's gonna do everything 2 times. It is nice because it allows her not just to deal more damage, but also to bring more shields. Alright, so watch this. Ignis are there. Ignis are there again, because we have Alfrix. So that's very useful. And Mercenaries to take out the shield. Collect here, thank you. Nice turn order here. I want to use the Ref Gem right here. This is gonna top up Ophi's DP, SP, and HP all the way back up. I even duped it. It's a bonus. Then yourself. You have to make sure everyone's everyone's healed up, because she's gonna AoE everyone's healed. And on top of that, Steora changes her shield patterns after the break. So this one's not bad. We get the E-break effect, which we don't, whatever. If we get the E-break effect, then we can have a slightly faster fight here, but this is still a win. Let's defend now. Oh, I almost donated BP to Alphen there, but that's fine, we have Therion. Nice Steora fight. Yeah, essentially, by using Alfrix and the Rev Gem there, we can do it in 5 turns. That's very nice. If you don't have the Rev Gem, if you had to use one on Dreisang because you're unlucky, then you would have to use Palm L plus Refreshing Gem, which is not as easy as Rev Gem. You have a lot. The turns are a lot tighter, like a lot, exponentially tighter. Hey, now we're done with Steora. We have Starseer job. Why we want to get a Starseer job? Because of this skill right here. Heart Worker. Heart Worker is Badge of Friendship in passive skill form. And it's stacked additively with Badge of Friendship. So unfortunately, it's not multiplicative, so you don't get 2.25 times. It's 2 times the amount of JP that we get from every boss fight now. But that's still really, really good. And that's essentially why you want to rush Steora as quickly as possible. And with the early BT staff, we can do Steora in 5 turns. And also Augmented Elements, which I forgot to explain there. I gave that passive skill to Ophi before Steora. It increases her elemental damage by 1.2 times. So we have quite a few stuff going on. We have Peacock Strut, Augmented Elements, Elemental Aid, and stuff, stuff like that. Oh wait, I don't need to do this. I can just do this. I don't even need to do that. I got a cracked turn order here. I basically never ever see this. In that case, I didn't actually need to use a Palm S, but I have a few extra, so it's fine. I could have donated DP. Now we're gonna do a no-break fight here. Another skill that we have on Ophi is Stronger Strikes. This increases her damage when she hits enemies for weaknesses. So normally it's 1.3 times. Stronger Strikes increases that to like, I don't know, like 1.5 or something like that. It's around there. It's not 1.5, but it's more than 1.3. Okay, we're done with Miguel. Just deleted Miguel with Ventus Salter. Now we're gonna do Ogre Eagle, and Ogre Eagle is very similar to Steora because Eagle likes to status people. The difference is that Steora is guaranteed to status one person on the first turn. Eagle has a 2 in 7 chance to status someone on the first turn. 7 effects that Therion, that the Eagle can apply, 2 of which are very bad. There's also poison, which I don't consider it's a terrible effect because you're not gonna die even if you get poisoned. Mainly, you don't want to see sleep or confusion. And Eagle is also a very adaptable fight. Based on turn order, you can adapt your fight to save resources. In the worst fight, which is pretty standard, it's the standard fight. The standard fight, you have to use 1 Palm L, and then you have to use a large Soulstone. But if you get good turn order, I accidentally talked to him. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to inquire him. Good turn order, you can save the large Soulstone. You can save the Palm L. So, hopefully. If you get good turn order, you can also just make sure that you can also ensure that Eagle doesn't status anyone. So it's not a fight that you can really. It's not a scripted fight. Yeah, it's a fight that requires practicing. It's not very difficult. It's not too difficult to get a grasp of it. It's difficult in the sense that it's unpredictable sometimes if you get bad status. That's also why I won the Gideon's Dagger on Therion. So we got that as a drop from Gideon. The Gideon's Dagger gives increased speed. So we put it on Therion because we want Therion to go before Ophi so he can get Alfrix on. I didn't get Therion before Ophi on Steora, but which essentially gave me 1 less turn to recover a bad fight in case I got statused the wrong person. But it's useful for fights like Steora, like Miguel, like Ophi, like Ogre Eagle, where you want Therion to go before Ophi to apply Alfrix, otherwise he has to defend. And for fights like Steora and Eagle, it gives you more leeway to heal status effects in case you get them. Okay, we're gonna have status here. Okay, it's bad. Not too bad. With clarity. Okay, to defend here. I think my turn order I might still be able to see the Outstone here. Outflips here. Should be fine. So I just need to do this. We also want to collect Eagle if possible, so I'm going to defend with Tetsu. And I'm gonna. And in this case, I'm just gonna feed one more pawn to Ovi, so she can kill Eagle now. Not too bad. We got status, but we were able to recover it and not expend too many extra resources because of our turn order. So that's what I mean by taking advantage of turn order to save resources. And right now my JP is very high, so I'm going to be able to skip the encounter in this next section. Okay, now we're going to do our next secret boss fight. It's going to be the War Master class, and we're going to fight Winterhild, and we're going to do. Normally, we would take one encounter in the Warbringer Shrine, but because I have a lot of JP, I don't need to. I can just do the menu now. This is where we unlock Surpassing Power, which will allow us to break damage cap. We're going to start to see lots of big numbers from now on. And we're also going to unlock elephants. Where's my snatch? So we want to teach Surpassing Power and elephants together. So elephants is the Scholar Divine, or the Scholar Ultimate. It functions similar to Elfric's, in that both of them essentially give a ×2 damage multiplier. We teach Elfric's first because we don't have Surpassing Power yet, so we can't hit above the damage cap. So we get around that by dealing more hits. Now that we have Surpassing Power, we can teach Elephants, which doubles the damage that we do. But it takes an AoE skill, turns it into a single target skill. And I got a funny Revenant, so nice thing. Nice. Good thing we have extra JP, so we can skip this encounter. Yeah, it turns an AoE skill into a single target skill and doubles the damage. It's just a free 2x multiplier, because we don't need an AoE for fights where we need the extra damage. Oh, this is dangerous. Okay, it's not dangerous anymore. Basically, Alphen is the only one of the few ones that can die here. Okay, we can't do anything now. This is where Curious Instance is used. Very strong. Apply Select Hold and takes one shield off of Winterhild. Just a godsend in this fight. This fight used to be very long. It used to be like 7 turns. Okay, here. And sometimes you have to use Elemental Break to break Winterhild as weak to staff. But in this case, I could use Therion to break first. It's a bit safer. Hey, don't blink because you miss it. Stack all the buffs. Elephants, Elfric's, Elemental Break, Peacock. If you blinked, you probably didn't see Winterhild get roasted into oblivion. But that's Winterhild. And I'm just gonna do a quick menu here. Cover. Yeah, okay, we want to do Winterhild first because unlocking War Master gives you access to extra experience, which is a passive skill. No points for guessing what extra experience does. But yes, we need extra experience. Because, levels are going to matter now. Levels, not only do they give you more stats, they also increase a hidden multiplier which increases your damage. So the more levels you have, the more damage you deal. And we're gonna need Therion to be at a certain level for the final boss, otherwise he's just not gonna deal enough damage. And fun fact, I already mentioned that Winterhilt used to be 7 turns. We also used to do Winterhilt last. We used to do Balgar first, which gives us the Rune Lord job, and it gives us Transfer Rune, which allows us to apply the Merchant skill Sidestep onto the entire party. And essentially allowed us to cheese Winterhilt because Sidestep gives us guaranteed physical evasion, and all of Winterhilt's skills are physical. But now we can do Winterhilt in 3 turns, so it's a lot faster than 7 turns. And we don't need sidestep cheese. We can enjoy the benefit of having extra experience first. Oh my god, she got crit. Balagar crit is one of the few ways we kind of thought OP might be able to die on this fight. Well, she survived it in this instance, so it's nice. Also in this fight, because you can't have Tressa defend on the second turn because she's breaking Balagar. Sometimes you have to use Alphen to put her before Ophi. So Alphen has a concoct, it's Soothing Seed plus Curious Bloom, another great use of Curious Bloom. It puts the target character at the start of the next turn. So if Tressa is way before Ophi, you can use that. You can also use Pamper Dance, which moves Tressa one slot before, or makes her act just before the next person, the previous person. Oh wait, I forgot to put this on. Okay, yeah, so Alphen really is like the secret sauce to all these faster fights. The main reason why we can do Winterhilt in 3 turns now is also because of Alphen. Being able to use that Curious Incense. Balagar as well. I believe we used to break Balagar with Tenebrae, and then we have to use E-Break on first turn or something like that. The fight's a lot nicer now. Basically, that's all I know. Unlucky encounter here. Useless surprise because we're guaranteed to run from it anyway. And yeah, not just Winterhilt and Balgar, also Dreisang because of Alphen. Able to use that Pomegranate Panacea to give everyone BP. The Alphen really is just a really strong utility character in this speedrun. In this game, if you're not using Alphen in your casual playthrough, I really recommend you use him. Okay, but now we're done with all the secret jobs. Essentially, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna clear up everybody's story. All the characters we haven't picked up yet, we're just gonna pick them up one by one. And we're gonna do all their stories. There's Waga Ken. Best Japanese voice line. You get to hear that quite a bit. It's Ulrich's voice line for his Chapter 1, Chapter 3, and Chapter 4 bosses. He says, Waga Ken. Okay, so the main gimmick about Oberg's Chapter 2 is that you don't have a dungeon, instead what you have is a gauntlet. And what you have to do is you have to do these, first of all, you have to do these challenges. So it's kind of like Harness Provoke. Kind of like Harness Provoke, except it's gated by levels. And you can use skills for challenges. For Harness Provoke, you have to either use animals that she captures, like a kind of Pokemon. You either have to use her Pokemon or you can use items. So that's where we have to use Soul Stones. But for Olbreak, we can use skills. And if you know what skill we're gonna use, there we go. And in case you're wondering, yes, it is worth it to chuck 30,000 leaves to one-turn these challenges. It's by far the fastest way to clear them. The alternative is a 3-turn fight, where you break them and then chuck a stone. But that's not only slow, it also takes a soul stone. Ulrich here, Ulrich's a very honorable fighter. Goes into battle, draws his sword. Except not really, he just like pays a bunch of people money to do his dirty work for him. Yeah, I do believe I have an extra wind soul stone, so should be good here. Okay. I have a lot of soul stones right now, so I could just chuck that one. I did mention, we're gonna want to have soul stones for Harness chapters later, so that's why we have to be very cognizant of how many our stone management. We need to have specific elements and a minimum number of stones for the fights in Harness chapter later. So now we're gonna want Ophi to go slow, so we put the BT staff back on. Also need the extra damage. Okay. Oh, this is a nice fight. Essentially, you want to one-turn these fights so you can get extra JP, because if you one-turn fight, you get 10% extra JP. And sometimes the JP rounding can be very exact to the point where if you miss one turn, if you get 2 turn fights here, you don't have enough JP to learn skills later. In our case, we should be safe. Even if we get a 2-turn here, which we don't. Oh, this is such a good turn order! Oh my gosh. Super poggers. Get it to him. Yeah. This is essentially the fastest fight you can get. Archibald does a really slow skill on this turn. So killing him before he even does anything, this is insane. This is an insane chapter 2 so far. If you can get a very fast Gustav as well, this is pretty much a super good chapter 2. Yeah, you don't see this every day. This is ridiculous. This is so good. Oh my gosh. This is the perfect Gustav fight. This is so, oh my, this is where is this chapter 2 in my actual runs? Why am I getting this now? This is a perfect chapter 2. Essentially, you want 2 people before Ophi on the first turn, and Ophi as early as possible on the second turn. So, yeah, in this case, it's perfect. Okay, now to go back to Saint Bridge. We still have to go back to Saint Bridge to get this nut, but we don't have to run through Saint Bridge again, all the way to the church. So overall, it still saves time doing early Hanet. Otherwise, we would do this part after Olbrich's chapter 4. And I believe right now I have to re-equip the knowledge stuff in the Ophi, because we don't need that power anymore. We're going to want her to go fast from now on. And equip you and do this. Yeah, from now on, Ophi is just going to be using the knowledge stuff, because she's not going to need the extra power anymore. You're going to want her to go as fast as possible to clear random encounters. And sometimes she can even go before bosses to break them. But it's very relevant for this chapter. So for this chapter, there are 2 forced encounters. If you have Ophi with the battle tested staff and she goes last on both turns, you lose like 20 seconds each fight, like 15 to 20 seconds. It's ridiculous how slow it is. So you want the knowledge staff on for these fights. Here we go. Hopefully Ophi goes first. I'll heal my SP as well. Oh, not punished. I can do this. Yeah, I was supposed to heal my SP before this. I forgot to do that. I was like, am I missing something? Actually, if I forgot about it, it's probably not important. Actually it is. But I'm not punished, so it's fine. Essentially, you want to heal Ophi's SP to full before the lizards. Then you have like enough SP to do the entire chapter without having to heal. Sometimes you level off Gustav, and that's actually optimal, so you don't have to heal. If you level off Archibald like I did back there, then you have to heal after Gustav. Okay, so this next boss is called Lizardman Chief, but his real name is actually Komodo Hype. Because he looks like Komodo Hype. Just look at that. Okay, nice. Get Ophi first. Key construct. Okay. Basically, this dude summons ads, and it's so annoying if they go before Ophi, because you don't want to say, oh my god, it went before Ophi again. I can never get a perfect fight here. You're gonna see why it's so slow. The ad's gonna attack, and it's gonna give us some, like... It's gonna tell us that the lizards are protecting the Lizardman Chief. We don't care, because we just wipe it in one turn anyway. Yeah, what happens there is, if you try to use a physical attack on the Lizardman Chief, then the ads will take the hit for them. For the Lizardman Chief. But we don't care, because we use AoE. Yeah, this is Earhart. Ulbricht's like kind of best friend, I guess. Just use Vets again to have a nice chat with Earhart, except we use Vets. So canonically, what happens there is that Ulbricht and Earhart have a duel, because Ulbricht wants Earhart to tell him to answer, like, to tell him why he betrayed, like, the King of Hornburg. So they're supposed to have a duel, except in this case, not really. Okay. Another cutscene here, which we can work back in later. So what we're going to do now is go to Sunshade. Start this quest. Talk to Ali here. This quest is very important. It gives us like one of the best weapons. in the game, which we're gonna need for Galdera, and we want to start the quest now. Also, Earhart is supposed to be one of the strongest swordsmen in the land. We use 1 Vex on Earhart, okay? We use 1 stone and 1 Vex. This random dude just walks around the street with red hat. They just call him the red hat dude. 2 Vex. You have to break him. Level of power creep that we are seeing in this game is insane. Earhart just got power crept. Guess he's not that strong. Okay, this next menu is the main reason why we have to manage we have to keep a very close eye on our JP up to this point. And essentially you need 8,000 JP on Ophi here to learn BP Eater, which I'm gonna do right now. So as you can see, my JP was pretty exact. I only have 52 left. I can pat myself on the back there. This looks very calculated. BP Eater to trust as well. Yeah, so I'm gonna stronger strikes 32. Okay, BP Eater. Why is it so strong? Okay, it's the Starseer. It's the 3rd passive of the Starseer job. BP Eater gives a 1.5 times damage multiplier to any skill which you boost. Which, if you don't know what the implications of that is, basically we get a free 1.5 times multiplier to any attack. Because essentially any time you want to deal lots of damage, you're going to be boosting anyway. So really BP Eater is just broken. It's just an unconditional 1.5 times damage multiplier. I don't know why a skill like that exists. It's like it's free damage. Elemental 8 is really strong, but it only affects elemental skills. And it doubles your SP cost. BP Eater doesn't cost you anything. This is alright, this is good. Yeah, that's a good Werner fight. Werner can terror you. Terror prevents you from gaining BP, and it also prevents you from using BP. And essentially with Boot Start, which is also starts your support, we can get 1 more boost point at the start of every turn, at the start of every fight, which essentially allows us to cut every fight from this point forward by 1 turn, because we have access to 2 turn divine skills. So it's very nice. Super duper nice. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah, I forgot it. There's a horse in Werner's Manse. Seriously, like every time people get to that point of the run, people are just like, oh my god, there's a horse in the Manse. Why is there a horse in the Manse? Therion, I'm gonna need you to steal this, please. Thank you. Everyone's asking, why is there a horse in the Manse? My question is, why is nobody asking how's the horse? I reuse this joke a lot. Yeah, I like this joke. Everybody asks, why is there a horse? Nobody asks, how's the horse? The horse is not doing very good, probably. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those Octopath things, like horse in a man's. Werner probably has like a whole stable of horses. Keeps. No discount, Tressa. Tressa. Second battle tested weapon that you purchase, BT Blade. BT Blade is very important because not only is it very nice for damage, but it increases all physical damage that you deal by 30%. And that is very important because Therion's going to be using the BT Blade and he's going to be doing physical damage for the Galdera. So we're going to want all the damage that we can. That's why we get the BT Blade. We're going to put it on right now. And BT Blade is also nice because it does a lot of damage, right? So we can use it to fill up some damage that we don't hit with, some damage ranges that we don't hit with OP. This is where we need a fire soul stones for. This dude, Nathan's bodyguard. And nice, don't have to heal here. So in some cases you have to heal. Normally you don't have to though. Because if Hana gets crit here and she takes all 3 hits, she would die. But she has Gustav Shield on, which has pretty high evasion modifier, so you are pretty likely to dodge at least 1 hit. And if you go before Nathan's bodyguard on the 3rd turn, you also don't need to heal. Okay, can I get a discount, please? No discount. I'm like super low on money right now. 38,000. So ideally, what I want to have is 87,000 after that. So I am like, whatchamacallit? How much? 87 minus 38. It's like, okay, that's about 50,000. Okay, I'm about 50,000 behind. I think. Quick maths. Yeah, it's 49. It's 49,000. Math is not my strong suit. It's my worst subject in school. Yeah, more soul zones. Fun fact, this tree looks like a broccoli. It does have a name, it's called the Ancient One. I just like to call it the tree. Okay. There's also a very specific reason why we're doing we're picking up characters in this order. So we do Allbreak first to get, first of all, the Lizard King's Axe. The Lizard King's Axe increases all thunder element damage dealt by 30%. And this is very nice because it also affects soul stones. This means that Han's able to use thunder soul stones if you don't have enough fire or light soul stones. The second reason is finishing Allbreak Chapter 4 puts Archibald in Stoneguard, yes, and you're able to purchase the double tomahawk from Archibald. So the double tomahawk is a very important item to have, specifically for Galdera, because double tomahawk does 2 hits for every hit you do. So normally with any other axe, if you boost your axe, let's say to a × 4, you do 4 hits. With the double tomahawk, you would do 8 hits, and it just happens, it just so happens that final boss has 8 shields and is weak to axe, so you can use the double tomahawk with fully boosted axe to break all 8 shields in one turn. Okay, now we're here in Snow. I'm gonna say hi to our good friend Lake here. There's also a fight where Thunder, being able to use a Lizard King's axe, Thunder Soulstone, is very nice. Gives you a lot of extra damage. Nice, no confusion. Panic Slash can confuse you, and it's very troll if you get confused. Can do this 1M, 1L plus 1 Lizard King's Axe Thunder L. That's just here. Oh my god, we have so many stones. Otherwise, you can use two Shadow Elves plus any Elf Stone. So in that case, you would need 3 Elf Stones. This screen is like super long. You usually get the encounter here. So if we skip this encounter, it's pretty pog. Hey, we skipped it. Nice. So far, it's looking to be a pretty good chapter 3. Skip the encounter outside. Got a very good lake fight where you didn't get confused, basically. As long as we can skip the encounter here, it's essentially a perfect chapter 3. I spoke too soon, we got the encounter. This encounter feels bad because it's a lot less likely than the one outside. So if you skip the one outside, then you get excited, then you get the one inside and you're like, oh, well. Oh well. Alright. Dragon's one of the chunkier bosses, so we actually have to use Elemental Break. Hana's bosses have a lot of HP in general. Yasarma has the highest HP out of any Chapter 1 boss. Lord of the Forest has the highest HP out of any Chapter 2 boss, and Dragon has tied first place for... Yeah, has the highest amount of HP for any Chapter 3 boss, and is tied between Yvonne and Lord of the Forest. In fact, Lord of the Forest, which is Chapter 2 boss, has more HP than Gareth, a Chapter 3 boss. Yeah, and a Red Eye, Chapter 4 boss, has the second highest HP out of any Chapter 4 boss. First being Eagle. Okay, we got a decent Chapter 3, didn't get confused. Now we're gonna go over to Marshland, and this is why we wanted to start Ali's quest first. Because after starting Ali's quest, Maruf spawns here, and we have to guide Maruf. So this is where Ophi's Sword has an advantage over Cyrus Sword. For Cyrus Sword, you can't start the quest early, because you don't have Primrose here. You don't have Primrose here, so you can't allure Maruf. So you have to come back later to allure him. But with Ophi's Sword, because Ophi is in your party, you can take advantage of being in Marshland and guide Maruf here, so you save some time. On top of that, you also have the 100% 100% guide instead of the Monka 32% allure, I believe, is for allure for Maruf. Okay, ideally you want to take one encounter in this chapter. And because I'm super low on money, I'm actually never mind. I was considering grabbing the 30,000 leaf chest. Deciding it's not worth it. It's very slow. And also guarantees that you get an encounter. I got it anyway, and it's fine. Ophi not going first here sucks. You really want Ophi to go first for these encounters to kill them quickly. She also has the knowledge staff, so it's not like you're being unreasonable. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? No. I'm gonna run. I meant to run. Accidentally hit defend. Might see somewhere among the stuff. It's fine, we'll take an encounter in the next screen. It was very unlucky though, Ophi getting targeted down pretty hard by those monsters there. And I kind of fat fingered the defend. I meant to flee there. Oh, we actually skipped this encounter. That's not very good. Actually, we have to take one extra encounter later. Okay, this fight is where people can die. Both let's do this. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll just do this. Doesn't matter. You know, now you're just trolling me. I have to use Rain of Arrows now. Both Ophi and Hane can die if they get double tapped here. Basically, get hit 2 times by Red Eye. Red Eye was a bit troll there. Essentially, what I'll usually do is I'll use bow times 2 with Hane, but then Red Eye decided to blind her. So I have to use Rain of Arrows, which is a slower animation. But yeah, now we're done with Hane's chapter 4. This is second last character that we're gonna pick up. So now we're gonna pick up Prim, last character. And we want to do Prim last because she doesn't really offer us anything important, valuable. Whereas completing Hane's chapter 4 unlocked another weapon similar to the Traven Spear. So I haven't explained the Traven Spear yet. Right after I click Prim here. Okay, the Traven Spear is a weapon which increases wind damage by 30%. The other weapon which I mentioned, the Primeval Bow of Storms, also does the same thing, except it's a bow. And you can unlock that by finishing Hane's chapter 4. So it's useful for Primrose's bosses. That's why we do Prim last. We do Hane first so we can get that bow for Prim's chapters. Okay, so we didn't take any encounters in Hane chapter 4. That means we're pretty behind on our XP right now. And we are going to have to take one encounter in Primrose chapter 3 and one more in Primrose chapter 4. Normally you would skip the encounter in Primrose chapter 4 because you're not guaranteed to get an encounter there. But because we didn't get any encounters, we didn't kill any encounters in Hane chapter 4, I'm going to have to force one encounter in Prim chapter 4. And again, we're doing this because we need levels on Therion. Not just for damage, but also because there's a certain steal later which he has to do. If he's level 45, it's 55%. But if he's one level lower, it's 15%. So that's why you want Therion to be of a high enough level. And generally, with the proper XP curve, you'll be level 45 there, and then you also, I believe it's level 56 for Galdera, which is the level you need to be at. Otherwise, it starts getting a bit dangerous. You might not have enough damage for Galdera. But yeah, we're coming up towards the last few chapters of this run. We're gonna finish the last character story, then we're gonna finish up our remaining few chapter 4s. I believe we only have Cyrus chapter 4 and Therion chapter 4 after Prim, and then we can do Galdera. Oh, this is nice. Okay, Goofy before. So in this case, I got Tressa before Ophi, so I don't have to do anything here. Otherwise, you would have to hit. You have to hit Rufus with your sword. Yeah, Therion's very low level right now. He's level 41. Normally he'd be level 42 here. The good thing is that even though you don't take... Hanet essentially has enough JP to learn all her skills. The only danger of Hanet not having enough JP is if she dies in the Red Eye fight. So the only concern now is not having enough levels for later. Hopefully you get the discount here. Okay, nice. At discount, so I'm gonna sell a bit of stuff here. This one. It's enough money. I sold a bit more than I needed to. Essentially, why I want the money here is so I can purchase the Viper Dagger here. I can also just opt to delay purchasing the Viper Dagger because I can purchase it later. But now is the best time to get it because it's very fast. Because you have to talk to this guy anyway to do the quest for the Primeval Bow. OP first is nice and kill him very quickly. Okay, so here we get the Primeval Bow Storms. We're gonna equip it immediately so we can start reaping the benefit of it. Oops. Skill menu here. So I want to kill one encounter here because I'm a bit short on XP. Normally at this point, Therion should be like in the middle of his level 42, but we haven't even reached level 42 yet. So hopefully we have enough XP later. I'm not sure because it's such a niche scenario. I'm actually not sure how much XP. What's the XP variance? What's the variance like when it comes to XP gain in Primrose Chapter 4? I'm not sure if you get a very bad encounter, we might not hit level 45, which will be kind of cringe, to say the least. But hopefully we just get a good encounter. Also, shoutouts to the disappearing chest there. There's supposed to be a chest in that room. Sometimes the game bugs out and it despawns. Doesn't matter in this category, but in something like Primrose Single Story, if you have that chest despawn on you, it's very annoying because you need that money. It has 5,000 leaves in it. Okay, this encounter's fine. Also OP first. It's good. Everyone leveled, so that's good. I don't have to heal after Albus. I don't have to heal for Albus, and I have to heal after Albus though. No, maybe not. No, I don't think I need to. You whack into your sword and elephants. Yeah, I don't need to heal. Anyway, I'm gonna kill one encounter in Prim 4. I believe this will put me in the middle of level 42. Yeah, definitely don't have to heal. So yeah, this Primrose is chapter 3. You can see how nice it was to have that primeval bow there. It gives us a lot more damage, so we can just break. We can just kill Albus without having to do any extra stuff like Elemental Break or Peacock Strut. We just need elephants. And this is Rose's chapter 4. Purchase some nuts here. These aren't sort of for Therion, because yeah, he's gonna need them for the final boss, just to tip the scales ever so slightly in our favor. Want to stack as much crit and accuracy as we can on Therion, as we reasonably can. Okay, I'm gonna have the Force End encounter here, so I'm just gonna take extra steps here. Okay, I think I should get extra encounter here. I took one, yeah. Okay, I forced this encounter here, and nice, if he went first again. Oh, what? It doesn't die? That's interesting. Didn't know he had so much HP. We should be good now. Especially Simeon's gonna give us one level, and then Lucia's gonna give us another level, so we should be at level 45. So Primrose is kind of infamous because she has 2 final bosses instead of 1. And in Primrose single story, this is a nightmare, but in Galdera it's not that difficult. We want to pay attention to a few things here. Kind of break here. You want to break Simeon. Mainly, you just want to make sure everyone's healed up. Otherwise, people might die on the next fight. Unfortunately, we can't have everyone quite healed up because the turn order here. Okay, I want to make sure we steal this Dancer Marionette. Elemental Belt. Kind of like a weaker Elemental Augmenter. And then we went to Salter, Simeon. This boss fight is one of the few, including Law of the Forest, that you don't have to take out the ads. You can just kill the main boss, and it kills the ads as well. Okay, so this is a bit monka. People might die on this fight if they get double tapped, so hopefully not. And you also want Simeon to silence either Prim or Therion. If he silences anyone else, this is a bit much. I'm gonna take a risk here. It'll be fine. You just don't hit okay. Okay, this is not very good. I have to do a slower fight here. Climber Tressa. But the good thing is that we have a backup. We can use Peacock Strut to Elemental Break just in case we get a 2-turn fight. But in case we don't, we can use Peacock Strut, which gives the same damage multiplier. And Ventus Salter here. Again, the extra damage coming in clutch. do get a level from this, and Lucia should give us the final level. And Primrose can actually die in either one of the fights. We don't have to think here. Primrose can actually die in, like, for example, phase 2. She only really needs the JP from phase 1. So even if she dies in phase 2, it's fine. You just have to revive her if she dies. Okay, purchase more Fort Elves for Flareon. And goodbye, Primrose. Steal Platinum Sword here. This is a sword that gives speed. So if, we're trying to stack as much speed as we can on Olbrick. Because the ideal Galdera fight has Olbrick before Therion. It saves you like 40 seconds if that happens. I don't want Cyrus to die here, so I'm going to use Mercs here just to, because if he gets hit by the front dude, he will die. Ideally, you just have Ophi first to clear that encounter. Now I can do another big menu. I like that. Everybody loves menus. And essentially what you want to do is to teach Elemental Edge here, and you get Hang Tough. I haven't really talked about Hang Tough. We taught it to Olbrick just now. What it does is that it allows you to live any attack at 1 HP. Next. Now, it allows you to live any attack at 1 HP as long as you are above 30% HP. Yeah, and it's really nice because a lot of the upcoming bosses do single hit AoE attacks. So with Hang Tough, you're going to be able to ensure that your squishy characters are going to be able to live these attacks, essentially giving them one more turn of field presence, which is very valuable. And this is going to be very relevant, not just for Cyrus, but also for like Primrose and Haunted, because they're basically, we give Hang Tough to any character that is not hasn't been in our party for very long, so lower level characters. People like Alphen, people like Ophi, Tressa, Therion, they don't need Hang Tough because they have a lot of HP, they can survive. And Elemental Edge, which we gave to Ophi, is a permanent Peacock buff. So that's very nice because then we don't have to Peacock her for this fight. Because we don't have a Dancer in this fight. We need Cyrus to be a Hunter to apply Leg Hold to Lucia. Otherwise she will kill us. We can just use Hang Tough to live the sweep on the first turn. And then and we use Leg Hold to make sure that we always go before her on the next turn. And this fight is very cool. This fight's pretty cool. It's a no-break fight. And the gimmick here is that Lucia has 30 shields, and she has a lot of defense. So you're meant to whittle her down. But because that's very slow, we don't do that. So instead what we do is we have a lot of buffs already on Ophi. Elemental Break, and then we're going to stack Elephant Selfrix again. And with the Primeval Bow of Storms, we have just enough damage to kill Lucia without having to break her. There we go, 14,000 a hit. Lucia has 84,000 HP, so if you consider each hit to be 14,000 HP, deals exactly, I think, 84,000. Okay, so that's Lucia. Very cool fight. And this is why we had to do Lucia this late in the run, why we had to do Cyrus's Chapter 4. this late in the run is because there's so much setup required for Lucia to do it this quickly that we're essentially forced to delay everything to this point. Lucia's the second last chapter 4 boss that we do. Last being Darius. We're gonna do Therion's chapter 4 right after we finish Cyrus's chapter 4. There's also a good reason why you want to do Therion's chapter 4 last. Well, the main reason is because you want the levels for the steel. Hold up. Fun fact, you don't skip this cutscene here, because it will pop up immediately, and you skip this cutscene. Okay, yeah, you also want to do Therion's chapter 4 last, because it puts you back at Boulder Fall, and that's where you want to do the next part of... the last part of the Galdera side quests. You steal the second elemental augmenter here, because we're going to put both of those on our sorcerer later. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be Ophi. She's the main sorcerer of this run, but she's not going to be the sorcerer for Galdera. And the reason why we got both the Tradewind Spear and the Primeval Bow of Storms is because we can stack those 30% buffs. So additively, it gives us 60% increased wind elemental damage. So that's going to make Ventus Salter hit like a truck, especially with all the buffs that we're going to stack. So not many characters can equip 2 elemental damage boosting weapons, because there aren't that many elemental. I believe like wind and fire are the only elements that get 2 weapons that increase the elemental damage. Thunder as well, but they're both axes. Oh no, ice as well. Okay, but we use wind because it's very easy to get. And naturally, the sorcerer for our Galdera fights will be able to equip both of these weapons to enjoy the benefit of the elemental damage increase. Okay. So everyone here lives Darius's attack. Yeah, Stress will live with 18 HP, that is calculated. And Ophi and Therion both live as well, double tap. And Cyrus is protected by cover. That's why we gave cover to Tressa. Okay, as I was saying, the sorcerer for Finis has to be able to equip both spear and bow. And there is a certain character that can do that. And that character is Olberic. So yes, Olberic is going to be our main sorcerer for Finis. Okay, I'm just kidding. It's Tressa. Both Tressa and Olberic can equip both spear and bow when they are sorcerer. That's okay. Don't have to spend the extra pawn. Yeah, this is a nice optimization. After Therion Chapter 4, you're back in Borderfall, which is the closest place to this screen right here. Which is the last thing you need to do before you unlock Gate of Finis. The Gate of Finis is the final dungeon. It's a 8 boss battle gauntlet before you can actually face Galdera. And before that, we're gonna do this huge menu, which I'm gonna do right now. Okay, yeah. Gonna feed everything to Therion, force feed him. Give him all the steroids. Gonna give Ophi Balagar's Blade. Essentially turn her into a nuke machine right now. And Tressa's gonna be the sorcerer, and Therion's gonna get this. For the battle-tested axe, which we haven't mentioned yet. And Therion finally gets the Mighty Belt. Wait, yeah. Okay. Therion finally gets the Mighty Belt. Okay. Important things. Battle-tested axe increases both ice and lightning damage by 30%, which is very nice. Because Balagar's Blade deals 1 hit of every single element. So 2 of those hits are going to be boosted by BT Axe. And Balagar's Blade is an insane skill. It has a ridiculous multiplier. Essentially, we're going to use Balagar's Blade to nuke every boss in this gauntlet. And, okay, just going to save a palm here. Yeah, these fights are pretty simple. Just put E-Break and then Balagar's Blade. You can see how much damage we do. Just one shot all of these bosses. Balagar's Blade. Get out of here. Right. Balagar's Blade is super strong, but Simin here has a lot of HP, so we actually do still need more damage on him. But fortunately we have Tressa for that. Nice turn order, actually. And just Clamor Ophi right here. It's a pretty good Simin fight. Yeah, we use a trade winds times 2 here. You can already see how strong Tressa's trade winds is. With the double wind element boosting weapons on her and all the support skills, and close to 999 elemental attack, because we have the trade wind spear, which is 390, and then we have like we have also. Wait, I'm gonna stack all of these speed stuff and break just to make him fast. Double tomahawk. Yeah, so close to 999 elemental attack, because we have 2 elemental augmenters, so that's like 1/5 already, and then we have like the Traven Spear, which is close to 400. Yeah, and on top of that, we also have like Sorcerer's Robe, Adamantine Hat, basically everything. This is very, very strong. He's gonna be used as the nuke for the first phase of Galdera. It's divided into 2 phases. In the first phase, the goal is to set up your buffs on Tressa, and then nuke the Eye with Ventus Salter and Balagar's Blade. And then for the second phase, we want to use Therion to AoE everything with A-Burst, and then also use Nightmare Chimera to yeet stuff. I can do this. This is one of the trickier fights. It's the only fitness fight that can kill you, pretty much. And sometimes you get unlucky. You have to do slower fights. In this case, it's a very fast fight. Okay, nice. So theirs is actually range as well. But if you do a boosted elemental break, you are very favored to hit that range. Yeah. Phase 2 is just using Therion to AoE everything. And we're gonna want a specific setup for Therion. Essentially, we're gonna set him up to be 1 HP, because we're gonna have a passive skill known as Fortitude, which increases physical damage inversely proportional to your HP. So at 1 HP, it gives you a 3 times multiplier to your physical damage. So by having Therion at 1 HP for the entire fight, we're able to have a very huge multiplier to its physical damage. And we can AoE everything, essentially killing all the parts of Galdera in 2 turns. Okay, now I have to teach. Now this is also a big menu. You have to teach. It's just teaching skills. I'm gonna teach divine skills to everyone. We want to teach Alfrix to Ophi here. We want to teach Doders to Alphen. We want to teach Abers, which is the main AoE skill which we're gonna use for later. Doders is a very nice skill. It makes it so that the character that has Doders, that has Doders buff, when they use an item, it applies to the entire party. And if you've been paying attention, you would know that there is one particular item that is very strong. So feel free to comment if you know what that item is. We're gonna use. It's also, you also get it as a drop from the finished bosses. So it's just nice because you need 2 revitalizing gems. 2 minimum. Yeah, you need 2 for although usually you can get away with 1. You need 2 revitalizing gems for the first phase of Galdera, and it just so happens that you get 2 drops from the gate, the dungeon, the fitness gate here. Yeah. We also taught Dragon's Spell, which allows us to crit our spell, so it's just more damage basically. And again, we're just gonna stack every single buff onto Tressa. Okay, so there's a reason why we have to give Therion Warrior. We also want to teach him Insight, passing power basically. But we want to set him up to die this fight. We're gonna use Insight, so we make sure he dies on the next turn. That way when we revive him, he comes back at 1 HP. And we use Alphen's Concoctor to give AoE status immunity to everyone. And you don't need to everything. Okay. So yeah, Therion will die here. And then Big Werner. With Balagarson. And right after this, you revive Therion, so he comes back with 1 HP. Essentially the perfect setup to take advantage of Fortitude. So this is the final boss of the gauntlet. Right now we're gonna proceed into the Galdera boss fight. Before that, we're gonna do our last big menu of the run. Okay, so we're gonna revive Therion here. Swap out our party members because we're gonna teach them skills. So first thing here, Primrose gets Hang Tough. She gets Cover. And then she gets Slick Hold. Pirates gets Elephants. And then Dancer. Therion gets BP Eater. And then all the War Master skills. Ani gets Leg Hold. And then we give the passive skills. Yeah, unlocking all the War Master skills gives Therion physical prowess, which is elemental edge, except for physical. Okay, so this fight, I want to stagger turn order, make sure I heal in between these attacks. And it seems like I should be able to do so. So I want to defend with you here, and fire with you here. On this turn is very important. This turn is very important. You have to get Doders onto Cyrus, and you have to break the ad. What's over there? Okay, I get Ophi before the eye on the next turn. So I have to do a slower backup fight. Before that, I'm gonna Revitalizing Gem everybody. I think I have to heal everyone up. So I have to do a slower backup fight here. I give Alfrix to Tressa. So normally I would use Ophi to kill the ad here. But in this case, I don't want to, because if I kill the ad before the eye, then it'll summon more ads, and it's very bad. So I don't get to stack all the buffs on Tressa, and instead what I do is I use Ventus Salter one extra time. I'm gonna break the eye right here. So Tomahawk, very useful here. So I'm gonna use 2 Ventus Salters here. If you have all the buffs on Tressa, you only need 1 Ventus Salter, and it will deal like 65,000 damage a hit. But instead what we do here is we use 2 Ventus Salters. And we use Holy Light here to fix the range. A Revitalizing Gem here. 1 more Ventus Salter. And Balagar's Blade should be able to kill him. So Omniscient Eye has the most HP out of any enemy in this game, 500,000. In the ideal fight, you would have Tressa deal about 400,000, and then Ophi would deal the remaining 100,000 with Balagar's Blade. I mean, I guess in this case it's still the same, but in the ideal fight, you would only use 1 Ventus Salter. So this is a bit slower because you have to use 1 extra Ventus Salter, so extra animation time. But it's still a win, so whatever. And in this next phase, we need Therion to go before the Maw, which is the head. Otherwise, it can use an AoE and wipe you, and then you have to do the dungeon again. So Therion, please. Okay. Yes, this is a perfect fight. So what we do is we palm out Therion here. And then we A-burst everything. And look at that damage, that's so much damage. Yeah, if you hit Maw below 50% HP, Maw will not do anything on the first turn. Panther Dance Therion. This increases A-burst damage because it scales with both physical attack and speed, and Panther Dance increases speed. So I have to Abers again, and this will kill everything. You need the extra bit of damage to kill the blade, which has which has more HP. Now you can just pass your turn. Okay, now I want to defend with Hanet. I want to liquor with Prim, if possible, and defend with Hanet. This is because Prim will not miss Galdera, so I want to make sure she's going last. Okay. I have Cleaver here, unbroken, so do close attack damage. And then I will do... Okay. Yeah, Prim will miss here, so I want her to go last so I can make sure she is the one breaking Galdera. And one more Nightmare Chimera, Yeet Runner Sword, and that is Galdera. Yeah, I didn't really get to explain everything, but Nightmare Chimera is just you yeet a weapon and deals a lot of damage. Yeah, that's Galdera. It's a pretty cool fight. And oh, time. I forgot to mention that time is when this text box here pops up. Yeah, so that's the run. Honestly, a lot of things that I didn't mention. I'm doing this commentary solo. But there is a lot of history to Galdera. It's really a very good category, a lot of history. For example, we used to do phase 2 with Winterhild's Battlecry, and now we do it with Abers. And a lot more stuff, a lot of trivia to this, and a lot of history to this route that I cannot explain. I really can't do this route justice, just me alone. But I hope that I did a good job with the commentary. I tried to explain most of the things to the best of my abilities. So hope everyone enjoyed that. And yeah, Galdera is probably my favorite category for this game. It's really complex category. It's a really good category to run. And it's one of the categories in where you're able to express your skill more better than in other categories. So yeah, really hope everyone enjoyed that. And last thing before I end off, just a shout out to Octopath community. Very nice bunch of people, very willing to get you started with your Octopath speedrunning. Actually, there has been a recent spike in new runners, so I'm very happy to see that. Okay, also shout out to Singapore speedrunning community. Right after me is another Singaporean speedrunner, so do give him your support. All right, that is all from me. Thank you for having me, SS4C, and I'll hand it back to the organizers.